Chapter 365. A seal fell. With the power of the mountain range, it suppressed everything. This great desolate devil-suppressing seal, Qin Shujian, had already raised it to the level of being one with the world. 5 million points of life force. Only then did he raise this mid-grade divine martial art to the level of being one with the world. After reaching the level of being one with the world, his understanding of this martial art had completely surpassed that of the original creator of this martial art, reaching an unprecedented level. Taking another step forward. That was the level of entering the Tao. To this, Qin Shujian did not raise it again. Because for him now, the great desolate devil-suppressing seal of being one with the world was already enough. When the mountain range fell, the 4 universal heavenly lock trembled violently. The terrifying power followed the descent of the mountain range shadow, like a hurricane sweeping through the world, shaking the void until it was slightly distorted. Roar! Tianyi Evil Lord let out a furious roar as his fist, which was the size of a mountain, smashed towards the mountain phantom. The two collided. It was a strong wind that spread out. Qin Shujian's body shook, but he did not retreat. The surging qi and blood in his body crazily surged, and when bursts of dragon roars resounded, another great desolate devil-suppressing seal struck out. Tianyi Evil Lord was not afraid. Under the monstrous devil qi, the evil demon was one of the most tyrannical existences. Even when facing the 4 universal heavenly lock, Qin Shujian, he did not retreat in the slightest. Boom! Boom! As the two sides clashed, the terrifying power spread out, causing the earth to tremble violently. The formation runes on the inner fortress walls trembled violently, and then under the shocked gazes of the many defenders, it shattered bit by bit. Following that, the entire inner fortress shook. Qi Zian shouted, "All the people on the inner fortress walls, retreat! And everyone else, retreat 5 feet!" Finished. The defenders retreated as they were told. Not long after, the entire inner fortress crumbled and collapsed in front of everyone's eyes. Hiss! Seeing this, there were already people who could not help but suck in a few breaths of cold air. Just the aftermath of the battle had caused the inner fortress to collapse. Such strength. Wasn't this a little too shocking? At this moment, a general of the limestone fortress asked Qi Zian in a low voice as he looked at the demon in the distance, and the figure fighting with it in the air. "Commander, should we help Sect Master Qin? Attack?" Qi Zian laughed at himself and asked, "Do you think we have a chance to intervene?" A rhetorical question. The general choked on his words. Not bad. Did they have the right to interfere? Just the aftermath of the battle between the two sides was enough to destroy the incomparably sturdy fortress. Such power was not something they could interfere with. Even an airborne realm cultivator like Qi Zian, who possessed the strength of a true martial peak in the true dominion, was not qualified to intervene. It wasn't impossible. It was that they couldn't. The protective aura of a physical invulnerability adept was practically useless against such power. Whether it was Qin Shujian or Tianyi Evil Lord. With just a casual strike, he could kill a peak physical invulnerability cultivator. The defenders of the limestone fortress. They were only there to guard the evil demon's seal and deal with anyone who tried to break the seal. However, when the seal was really broken, the defenders of the fortress, they had no right to resist the evil demon. Once the seal was broken, only one of them would die. It is rumored that only someone who has condensed 4 universal heavenly locks can break the shackles of the true dominion and become the protectorate lord of the spirit dominion. Only an expert who has condensed 4 universal heavenly locks can be called invincible in the true dominion. At first, I thought that this was an exaggerated rumor. However, it seems like it is not false at all. Qi Zian sighed emotionally. Even if he were to fully recover his powers as an airborne realm being, he had no confidence in being able to take on Qin Shujian at the moment. Meanwhile, the commotion caused by the battle between the two sides attracted the attention of the other experts of the true dominion. This was especially so when the evil demon broke the seal and caused an earth-shaking change. No one could ignore it. After all, once the demon disaster started, it would not be a problem of one city or land. If it was not handled properly, the entire true dominion would be finished. Therefore, at this moment, experts from various sects and some experts from other cities were rushing over. Qi Ziyan, who had been watching the battle, had no choice but to go out and meet these experts when he sensed the commotion. Or else, if these people barged in directly, it would inevitably cause unnecessary trouble. On the other side, the battle between Qin Shujian and Tian'ai Evil Lord was still ongoing. As the evil demon sealed by the 9-star flare array, even though the heavenly man Evil Lord was suppressed by the shackles of the true dominion, his strength had reached the level of condensing 3 universal heavenly locks. In fact, he was close to condensing 4 universal heavenly locks and had truly touched the limits of the true dominion. However, a little bit was still a little bit. This was especially true when experts fought. Sometimes, a little bit of difference was enough to determine the outcome of a battle. Mountain-moving seal. Ocean-overturning seal. Fiend-suppressing seal. The great desolate fiend-suppressing seal, which was at the union of heaven and man stage, had almost reached the level of skill in Qin Shujian's hands. Every strike perfectly carried the maximum power he could produce at the moment. The strength of the evil demon clan, it was their terrifying physical body. Qin Shujian, who cultivated the origin-returning ancestral scripture, had transformed his body into the immortal bright king body. In terms of strength, he was not much weaker than the evil demon clan. Now that his strength had reached the shackles of the true dominion, he could cause thunder to roll with his every move. It seemed as though he would break through the shackles at any time. In the face of such an attack, the Tian'ai Evil Lord did not show any signs of defeat at the beginning and was evenly matched with Qin Shujian. However, as time passed, the scales of victory slowly tilted towards Qin Shujian. The original inner fortress had already been destroyed. As for the stone rock stronghold's guards, they had already retreated to the walls of the stronghold. Apart from that, the experts of the true dominion were all staring at the battle in front of them with shock in their eyes. Universal Heavenly Lock. Evil Demon Clan. Regardless of which side it was, the strength displayed was enough to make people lose all will to fight. This is the Protectorate Lord of the Liang Mountain Spirit Protectorate who broke through the shackles of the true dominion. His strength is indeed earth-shattering. He can actually suppress the evil demon clan. For universal heavenly locks. I never thought that I would be able to see an expert who has condensed 4 universal heavenly locks in my lifetime. With Sect Master Qin around, the evil demon clan should be fine this time. Don't forget that Sect Master Qin's most powerful technique is not his cultivation level, but his array formation technique that is comparable to a heavenly man major cultivator. Many people were discussing animatedly. Some people only came to their senses when they heard the last sentence. That's right. The most powerful technique of Sect Master Qin, who was famous in the North Cloud Mansion, was not his cultivation level, but his array Dao cultivation level that was comparable to a heavenly man major cultivator. In the past 1,000 years, the only array Dao Grandmaster in the North Cloud Mansion. However, now, the other party did not use any array Dao techniques. He was completely suppressing the evil demon clan with his own strength. Such a situation, it was even more shocking than using an array formation to suppress the evil demon clan. Boom! Boom! The two sides continued to exchange blows. The ground beneath Tian'ai Evil Lord's feet had already cracked. The remnants of the 9 stars array and the bronze pillars had long been reduced to dust in the aftermath of the battle. Not a single trace of them was left behind. As for the monstrous demonic chi, it had decreased by a lot at this moment. It was not because of any other reason. It was because Tian'ai Evil Lord had consumed a large amount of demonic chi in order to recover from his injuries. Boom! Another demon-suppressing seal was sent out. Tian'ai Evil Lord's arm was shattered. Blood gushed out like a fountain, constantly splashing onto the ground. His body also took a few steps back. Immediately after, the demonic chi rolled back, causing the injury on his arm to heal in the blink of an eye. Kill! Tianai Evil Lord's ferocious face was filled with killing intent. When his fist struck the void, it was enough to shatter a mountain. The terrifying power did not decrease at all. I want to see how much true chi and blood you have left to use. No matter how strong the 4 universal heavenly locks are, when you run out of energy, you will die. Evil Lord roared again and again. Qin Shujian's expression was indifferent. Facing Tianai Evil Lord's fierce attack, he still did not retreat. Instead, he faced it head-on. Then let's see if your demonic chi is exhausted first, or if my true chi and blood is exhausted first. He had 7 cultivation techniques in him. Even when he used true chi, unless he set up a complete master-level array, there was no possibility of it being exhausted. Not to mention, right now, he was using diluted true chi, relying on the recovery ability of the 7 cultivation techniques. The current him. The true chi in his body was still abundant. Tianai Evil Lord wanted to use force to exhaust his true chi. Qin Shujian could only say that it was wishful thinking. Another seal was sent out. The other party was forced to retreat. Soon after, Qin Shujian closed in on him and struck out with the demon-suppressing seal again. But the difference was, this time, the demon-suppressing seal had a dark red flame attached to it, making it even more terrifying. Tianai Evil Lord did not care and still sent out a punch. But when the two collided, the dark red flame immediately spread along his fist towards his arm. A terrifying scorching sensation caused Tianai Evil Lord to change his expression. Following that, a thought moved. A large amount of demonic chi surged over, attempting to extinguish the dark red flame. But as a large amount of demonic chi covered it, the dark red flame was not extinguished. Instead, it became more and more intense. This caused his face to turn completely ugly. What kind of flame is this? The flame that will kill you! Qin Shujian laughed sarcastically, but the attack in his hand did not stop for even half a breath, and continued to bombard the other party. In order to kill Tianai Evil Lord, he waited until the other party had consumed more than half of his demonic chi before he used the Ming King Hellfire. After all, although the Ming King Hellfire could use demonic chi as nourishment, if there was too much demonic chi, it could still be extinguished. That attack just now. Qin Shujian had already used all the Ming King Hellfire in his body. If Tianai Evil Lord was still at his peak, relying on the huge amount of demonic chi, he might be able to extinguish it. But now, in a situation where it could not be extinguished in an instant, the more demonic chi surged over, the more intense the Ming King Hellfire would be. Chapter 366. Just as the Ming King Hellfire was ignited, Qin Shujian waved his hand and set up a large array that blocked their line of sight. This array completely cut them off from the outside world. What's going on? Array isolation, what's going on inside? With the formation blocking them, the people in the outside world suddenly felt as if they had been interrupted while doing something exciting. They felt so uncomfortable that they wanted to vomit blood. But they had no choice. Qin Shujian obviously did not want them to see the situation. These people did not have the guts to forcefully break the array to see. After all, if they really angered the other party, none of them would be able to escape. Even the sect behind them would be finished. During this period of time, Qin Shujian's killing intent had lessened. But the other party's reputation of destroying the sect had gradually spread out. Vicious and merciless. Vengeful. Such a character was already well known by many people. No one wanted to offend the other party because of a small matter and bring about a fatal disaster. So, when the array isolated them, these people could only wait anxiously at the same spot and did not do much. Inside the array, the Ming King Hellfire was nourished by the demonic chi and had already covered a third of Tianai Evil Lord's body. That scorching aura seemed to be directly affecting his soul, causing his face to become distorted. Impossible! Is there anything in this world that can restrain the demonic chi? Roar! Tianai Evil Lord roared continuously. What was happening now was beyond his expectations, causing him to feel unprepared. towards the dark red flame burning on his body. In his ancient memory, it had never appeared before. In Tianai Evil Lord's eyes, the demonic chi was an existence that could be compared to the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. To a certain extent, it even surpassed the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Such a thing. It was supposed to be supreme, and no existence could restrain it. But the current situation. But it was a real lesson for him. Qin Shujian did not have the intention to answer Tianai Evil Lord's doubts. Just as the other party was distracted by the Ming King Hellfire, the great desolate devil suppression seal had already struck out. Boom! Not only was he distracted by the Ming King Hellfire, he also had to withstand the attack of the great desolate devil suppression seal. Tianai Evil Lord instantly fell into a disadvantage. Every time it was bombarded, it caused his body to faintly crack. Blood flowed out from the cracks in his skin like a small stream. The wandering demonic chi in the surroundings swept back and acted on his body, wanting to completely heal his injuries. Upon seeing the Tianai Evil Lord's body recovering, Qin Shijian's countenance turned cold as he unleashed another mountain-moving imprint. The illusory silhouette of a mountain pressed down on the Tianai Evil Lord's body, causing a terrifying explosion that shook the heavens. Boom! His physical body was torn apart, and demonic energy swirled in reverse to repair it. Boom! His body once again cracked and repaired itself. Boom! The chi in Qin Shujian's body seemed to be limitless. His chi and blood kept circulating, and no matter how much it was consumed, it didn't dry up at all. When he used the Great Desolation Devil Suppressing Seal, it was like a big move with zero consumption. Every single strike caused the Tianyi Evil Lord's body to crumble. It was fine at first. When the devil chi was abundant, the evil demon could be said to have an immortal body. However, as time passed, the demonic chi thinned at a speed visible to the naked eye. On one side, the Ming King Hellfire was devouring the demonic chi. While repairing the body, it also consumed a large amount of demonic chi. Under the combination of the two, the speed of consumption was terrifying. When another devil-suppressing seal landed, this time, Tianyi Evil Lord's body collapsed, but his body didn't recover to its original state like before. As for the surrounding demonic chi, now, there was nothing left of it. The Ming King Hellfire that had spread to half of his body seemed to have lost its suppression, and instantly swallowed the Tianai Evil Lord's entire body. Roar! The painful burning made the Tianai Evil Lord roar in anger. His roar shook the heavens and earth. Even under the isolation of the array, it still spread out. Junior, when I come out from the demon abyss, I will definitely extract your soul and make you fall into the demon abyss forever. You will suffer the pain of the demonic chi scraping your soul. The Tianai Evil Lord's scarlet eyes stared at Qin Shujian as he spat out the words. Hatred. Killing intent. Anger. At this moment, all of these were piled up in the Tianai Evil Lord's heart. If he was given another chance, he would definitely tear the other party into pieces. The threat to the Tianai Evil Lord. Qin Shujian placed his hands behind his back and said coldly, When you have the chance to come out of the demon abyss, it will be the time of your death. Who doesn't know how to boast? In terms of bragging, he, Qin Shujian, has never been afraid of others. In the past, the Tianai Evil Lord in front of him was not the only one who said that he would make his soul fall into the demon abyss forever. Previously, the Six Desires Evil Lord had crawled out of the demon abyss to take revenge, but unfortunately, he had completely lost his life. Hearing Qin Shujian's arrogant words, the anger in the Tianai Evil Lord's heart was about to incinerate him. But with the body of an evil lord under the situation where the demonic chi was exhausted, the Ming King Hellfire would not last for long. So, when the Tianai Evil Lord left his last sentence, he was directly burned to ashes by the Ming King Hellfire. A fire lotus quietly floated in the air. Just you wait. If you say wait, then wait. The next time I see you, I will definitely hammer you to death. Qin Shujian sneered. At the same time, the system's message rang in his mind. You have received 10 luck points. With 10 luck points in hand, Qin Shujian was in a good mood. Then, looking at the fire lotus in the distance, he reached out his hand. The fire lotus fell into his hand. A pure energy flowed into his body. At the same time, the 410 feet spiritual god also received a lot of nourishment. However, to reach the 420 feet level, it was still a bit lacking. However, Qin Shujian silently felt the changes in the spiritual god. He was sure. The spiritual god was not far from reaching 420 feet. It would probably be able to devour 1 or 2 more evil lords. The spiritual god reached the 400 feet level. Every increase of 10 feet. His strength was a terrifying increase. Even if this increase was only about 10% of his current strength, it was still terrifying enough. If an ordinary peak prominent divine realm's battle power was compared to 10,000, then Qin Shujian's current battle power was at least 50,000. His current 10% increase was equivalent to an increase of 5,000 battle power. It was equivalent to an increase of 50% of an ordinary peak prominent divine realm's battle power. If this was the case, it looked much clearer. Immediately, Qin Shujian looked at the surrounding concealing array. With a wave of his hand, the array was destroyed. The situation that everyone could not see was revealed once again. Sect Master Qin, that evil lord! Qi Ziyan asked in bewilderment after a short moment of shock when he saw Qin Shujian fly over. As for the others, their gazes landed on Qin Shujian. This was Sect Master Qin, who had been famous for a long time. Many people were seeing him for the first time. No one had forgotten. The expert before them was a peak prominent divine realm existence, and a terrifying expert who could match a heavenly man realm cultivator. He was far beyond the reach of the true Dominion cultivators. Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian said faintly, "The evil lord has been killed. Later, I will set up a spirit gathering array formation at the place where it was originally sealed to purify the place that was contaminated by the fiend Qi. I believe that it will be resolved after some time. Thank you, Sect Master Qin, for taking action. I thank you on behalf of all the guards of the Rock Stronghold." Qi Ziyan bowed and thanked him gratefully. As for the other people of the Rock Stronghold, they also bowed and paid their respects to Qin Shujian. The other party had resolved the evil lord. In other words, there was no need for the Rock Stronghold to exist. The people guarding this place could also officially retreat from this place. In that case, to them, Qin Shujian was their benefactor. Regardless of whether he had come on the orders of Marquis Baiyun, it was not that important to these people. What was important was, the other party had killed the evil lord. Just this point alone was enough. In response to Qi Ziyan and the others' bows, Qin Shujian extended his hand and helped them up symbolically. Then, he said, "Commander Qi, you don't have to be so polite. This is what I should do." Next, Qin Shujian set up a spirit gathering array formation at the place where the evil lord had broken the seal. This was also the first time that the others were lucky enough to see an array Dao Grandmaster set up an array. The previous scene of the array being set up with a wave of his hand had been too fast. Many people did not have the time to take a good look before they realized that the array had been set up. This time, Qin Shujian's speed of setting up the array was a little slower. However, no matter how slow he was, a spirit gathering array formation that covered an area of the stronghold only took 2 to 3 breaths. The ground was contaminated by the fiend Qi. If the heaven-earth spirit Qi was used to purify it naturally, it might not be completely purified even after hundreds of years. After all, the fiend Qi had penetrated deep into the ground and could not be purified by ordinary spirit Qi. However, the spirit gathering array formation was different. The spirit Qi concentration in the array formation increased, so the purification speed increased a lot. After setting up this array, the fiend Qi inside will be completely purified in at most 3 years. Qin Shujian told Qi Ziyan after setting up the array formation. There was something else that he did not say. As long as a Grandmaster level array formation was not destroyed, it would always exist. After the spirit gathering array formation purified the fiend Qi inside, it might become a small cultivation treasure land. Regarding this, Qin Shujian did not say too much. If the other party could discover it, then so be it. If not, then so be it. However, when he was setting up the array, he suddenly thought of something that he had neglected for a long time. That was, the immortal plane was still contaminated by the fiend qi. Even though the True Dominion and the Spirit Protectorate had been upgraded twice and the Heaven-Earth Spirit Qi had flowed backward, the fiend Qi had not been purified much. Plus, the immortal plane was not very important. Qin Shuyan had neglected it. However, now that he thought about it, perhaps he should set up a huge array formation there to completely purify the fiend Qi. This way, the territory of the Origin sect could be expanded. Chapter 367. After settling the matter at the limestone stronghold, Qin Shujian bade farewell and left immediately. As for the experts of the True Dominion's native sects, they wanted to get acquainted with him, but did not dare casually talk to him. Therefore, when Qin Shujian had completely left, some people beat their feet and stomped their chests, realizing that they had missed an opportunity to make friends with an expert. After all, the current Origin sect was in the Northern Peak sect. It was one of the top sects in the Baiyun prefecture. Even among the 13 prefectures of the Great Zhao dynasty, it was still a famous sect. If the sect they belonged to could establish a connection with the Origin sect, then, as long as the Origin sect could offer some benefits, it would be enough for the True Dominion sects to eat. This was a top-notch sect. It was different from an ordinary True Dominion sect. On the other side, after leaving the limestone stronghold, Qin Shujian immediately rushed to the next stronghold. To him, now, it was a race against time to hunt down the evil devils. This did not mean that the current situation was so critical. In Qin Shujian's opinion, the evil devils in the Northern Cloud Manor's True Dominion were already his. Waiting one more day for the providence points that were waiting for him to harvest was torture. The greatest joy would be to harvest all of them. Marquis, isn't it too risky for us to kill the evil devils now? Li Guang'an asked hesitantly as he looked at the Marquis Baiyun in front of him. Although he was a consecrator of the Northern Cloud Manor, he had heard of some things. He also knew a little about why the Great Zhao nation only suppressed the evil devils and never killed them. It's just a matter of time. The Marquis Baiyun shook his head slightly. He did not say much about Li Guang'an's worries. The altar that sealed the evil devils in the Northern Cloud Manor had been set up by the Array Dao Grandmasters sent by the Imperial Court. However, these sealing altars had been worn down for hundreds or even thousands of years. Coupled with the continuous attacks of the evil devils below, some of them had already reached their limits. Under such circumstances, the Imperial Court should have sent Grandmasters over to continue strengthening the array formation. However, the current situation, the Imperial Court simply did not have the extra power to take care of these matters. Previously, they had sealed the evil devils. This was to suppress the power of the Fiend Abyss. However, no matter how much they suppressed it, if they did not completely kill these evil devils, there would be endless future troubles. For the current situation, instead of waiting for the hidden dangers to erupt, it would be better to get rid of them all at once. When the Demon Abyss was attacked in the future, they could deal with it on their own. What the North Cloud Mansion needed to do now, it was cutting off all means of retreat. Blindly taking care of too many things would only end up in a bad situation. Seeing that Marquis Baiyun did not want to talk about this matter, Li Guang'an shut his mouth at the right time. In the end, he was just a consecrator of the Baiyun Marquis Manor. He had no right to influence the Marquis Baiyun's decision. The fact that he was able to ask a few questions was because he was the other party's trusted aide. Within 10 days, Qin Shujian killed a total of 8 strongholds and 8 demons. These fortresses. These were the places that the Marquis of Baiyun had specially marked in the information that he wanted him to go to first. As expected, when Qin Shujian rushed over, he discovered that there were problems with the seals of the 8 strongholds. Although it was not as good as the limestone stronghold, it had already cracked halfway. However, there was always a flaw in the seal, which caused the demonic aura to leak out. Once the demonic aura leaked out, the problem would be very troublesome. At the very least, it meant that the demonic aura leaked out, and some people would be corroded by the demonic aura and eventually become a member of the demonic disaster. However, as long as one was strong enough, it was not an easy thing to be corroded by the demonic aura. Unless the demonic aura was extremely dense to an extremely terrifying degree, otherwise, as long as one reached the level of chi and blood, it would be very difficult to corrode the demonic aura that leaked out from the seal. The main problem with the leakage of demonic aura was that it would corrode the surrounding area into demonic soil, and then provide power to the demons, making the seal even more unstable and breaking the seal. These things could be big or small. If one did not pay attention, it would cause a demonic disaster. But fortunately, the demons sealed in these places were very ordinary in strength. None of them needed to use the 9 stars array like the Tianai demon lord in the limestone stronghold. The strongest expert merely used the 7-star on formation, the level of the array. It determined the strength of the demons. The Tianai demon lord's strength was at the peak of condensing 3 universal heavenly locks, close to the 4th. And the demons in the 7 stars array, their strength was only equivalent to condensing 2 universal heavenly locks. Facing such demons, even if Qin Shujian didn't use the Wisdom King's hellfire, he could still beat him to death. At this moment, he was standing in front of a stronghold and showing his identity token. Eastern Joy Stronghold. This was Qin Shujian's goal this time. Like the other strongholds, after seeing the token of Marquis Beiyun, the stronghold commander immediately opened the gate to welcome him. Very soon, a person came out from inside and walked in front of Qin Shujian. He then cupped his fists and said, "Eastern Joy Stronghold Commander Zhao Heng greets Sect Leader Qin. Commander Zhao is too polite. May I know why Sect Leader Qin is here? I'm here for the demons. Please come in." Zhao Heng's expression turned serious as he turned sideways. During this period of time, news of Qin Shujian frequently going to various strongholds to hunt demons had spread. After all, he was a person who could hunt demons. He was the first one. Regardless of whether it was the mortal realm or the true dominion. All of them were at least celestial tier evil spirits, which meant that they were the strongest in that region. Unless a heaven realm cultivator attacked. Or else, other cultivators had almost no chance of contending against them. It was difficult for someone like Qin Shujian, who was able to hunt down demons all by himself, to not attract attention. Therefore, at first, Zhao Heng could vaguely guess Qin Shujian's motive for coming here. After confirming it, he was even more delighted. There was no other reason. Like the other stronghold guards, Eastern Joy Stronghold had been built for a long time. There were guards stationed here all year round and could not leave without permission. However, the guards could be changed every few years. But as the commander, Zhao Heng was not so lucky. It had been 50 years since he arrived, but he was still guarding the stronghold and could not leave without permission unless there was a special situation. 50 years of suffering. Although he did not feel resentful, everyone would want to end such a life if he continued to suffer like this. However, as long as the seal of the demons existed, the stronghold needed someone to guard it every day. Now, it was different. Qin Shujian was here. If he killed the demons inside the seal, there would be no need for Eastern Joy Stronghold to exist. He would no longer need to guard this place. As a result, this was naturally a good thing. Therefore, when he saw Qin Shujian, Zhao Heng's attitude was very warm. As the two entered the stronghold, he tilted his head and asked, "Sect Leader Qin is here for the demons. Do you need me to do anything? Are there any high-level casting materials in Eastern Joy Stronghold?" "High-level casting materials?" Zhao Heng was stunned for a moment, but then he reacted. After thinking for a moment, he replied, "There are only some level 6 materials in the stronghold's storehouse. I wonder if Sect Leader Qin can use them? Level 6 materials are barely enough." Qin Shujian nodded slightly. "I'll have to trouble Commander Zhao to take me there. Sect Leader Qin, this way please." Hearing this, Zhao Heng did not refuse. He then led Qin Shujian to the Eastern Joy Stronghold's storehouse. After showing his identity token, Zhang Xian nodded. The storehouse's door opened. What entered his eyes? Qin Shujian saw a large number of sacks piled up like a small mountain. From the scattered traces on the ground, it could be seen that these sacks were filled with food. He was not surprised by such a situation. After all, Eastern Joy Stronghold was much bigger than Limestone's stronghold. According to Qin Shujian's understanding, the number of guards inside had reached 200,000. So many people. The amount of food that needed to be consumed every day could be said to be massive. If they did not accumulate enough food, the imperial court would send people to deliver food every few days. At this moment, Zhao Heng explained from the side. There are too many people in Eastern Joy Stronghold. Although we have cultivated some fields in the inner stronghold, in the end, we can't keep up with the daily consumption. The food is regularly sent by the imperial court in case of an emergency. Eastern Joy Stronghold has cultivated fields? This time, Qin Shujian was really surprised. Picking up weapons could kill enemies, and putting down weapons could still cultivate. Eastern Joy Stronghold's method was somewhat familiar. However, he did not think too much about it. Thinking about it carefully, Qin Shujian somewhat agreed with Eastern Joy Stronghold's method. After all, with a large army guarding the stronghold, there would rarely be any battles. 200,000 soldiers were placed here, and they were supported by the imperial court. Moreover, the stronghold was suppressing demons. There was no benefit in attacking the stronghold, unless it was those who were against the human race. Or else, no one would be so free as to attack Eastern Joy Stronghold. This way, the main reason the army was placed here was to deal with this possibility. Even if the probability was so small that it made one's hair stand on end. However, the matter of the demons was of great importance. Even if there was a 1 in 10,000 chance, the imperial court would not take it lightly. Compared to the 200,000 soldiers defending, once the demon disaster started. That would mean the death of millions, or even tens of millions of people. The storehouse for forging materials is on this side. Sect Head Qin, please follow me. Zhao Heng only smiled, and immediately led Qin Shujian to a side door. After entering, the storehouse at the side door was much smaller than the large storehouse from before. However, it was still filled with all kinds of things. When Qin Shujian's spiritual eye swept over it, not long after, he found a few pieces of 6th-grade ores and put them away. Then, he turned his head and said, Commander Zhao, please arrange a quiet and spacious courtyard for me. Chapter 368. At Qin Shujian's request, a spacious courtyard was spacious. Zhao Heng had arranged for him to stay in a relatively spacious courtyard, and he had ordered that no one was to disturb him without permission. As for why the other party had done so, Zhao Heng himself was not sure. However, according to his thoughts, the other party should be making some preparations to deal with the evil spirits sealed inside. After all, the East Joy Stronghold was different from other strongholds. There was more than one evil spirit sealed inside. There were 3 of them. In the following day, thunder rumbled in the East Joy Stronghold. Lightning struck from time to time, causing the other soldiers to tremble. Commander Zhao, what's going on? A general of Dong Lu Fort looked at the incessantly descending lightning and the black clouds that covered a third of Dong Lu Fort. His face was filled with shock. Those lightning bolts, every single one of them emitted an aura that could make a cultivator at the peak of the true martial realm tremble. Heavenly thunder striking the body. Sect Master Qin must be refining a spirit weapon. Zhao Heng shook his head and said, Yesterday, Sect Master Qin asked me for some Tier 6 materials. They should be used to refine a spirit weapon. He did not forget that Qin Shujian was not only an array grandmaster. He was also a grandmaster blacksmith. Refining a spirit weapon! Hiss! Upon hearing this, many people were shocked. Any spirit weapon. It had an immeasurable value in the true dominion. Apart from a few sects with a strong enough foundation, not every sect had the existence of a spiritual weapon. As for refining a spirit weapon, they had only heard of it before, but had never seen it with their own eyes. After all, there were very few high-grade blacksmiths in the North Cloud Mansion, let alone Grand Masters and Master Blacksmiths. In a courtyard, when the last heavenly thunder struck, the heavenly thunder sect's disciples were stunned. Qin Shujian stretched out his hand and the nine-sided array disc floating in the void landed in front of him. It's a pity that due to the lack of materials and time, I can only refine a low-grade spirit weapon array disc. Looking at the nine-sided array disc in front of him, he shook his head silently. A single array disc was a low-grade spirit weapon. When the nine-sided array disc was combined, it could reach the level of a middle-grade spirit weapon. However, when it came to inscribing arrays, the strength of the array disc, this represented the strength of the formation that could support it. If it was a complete Grand Master level formation that had the power to resist a celestial being, then the 9-square disc array would not be of much use. However, if they were to deal with the evil fiends in the True Dominion, with the help of the 9-sided array disc, it was barely enough for him to use. After all, array formations borrowed the power of heaven and earth, and the array disc was just a medium. It was not like other spirit artifacts, which could be used to fight against other cultivators. Shortly after, the 9 array discs floated in the air. Qin Shujian drew in the heaven and earth spirit qi. His 2 fingers were like a divine brush as he carved out mysterious runes one after another. Then, he inserted them into the formation plate. After the rolling thunder, another large amount of spiritual energy gathered. Dongle Stronghold, which had been peaceful for a long time, experienced all sorts of strange phenomena on this day. As for these phenomena, after the initial shock, the people in the fortress slowly got used to it. 2 hours passed. The spiritual energy receded. Qin Shujian put away the 9-sided disc array and left the courtyard. As soon as he opened the courtyard door, he saw Zhao Heng and a group of generals of Dongle's stronghold waiting there. When they saw Qin Shujian come out, Zhao Heng immediately went up to him. Without waiting for him to speak, Qin Shujian spoke first. "Commander Zhao, please take me to the altar where the evil spirit is sealed." "Sect Master Qin, please follow me." Zhao Heng took the lead and led Qin Shujian to the altar where the evil spirit was sealed. As for the other generals, they also knew what this meant. Without needing Zhao Heng to explain too much, they had already turned around to pass down the order and made the corresponding arrangements. Although compared to the evil spirit, an army of 200,000 soldiers, it was difficult for them to fight against it. However, there was absolutely no reason not to take any defensive measures. On the other side, Zhao Heng had already taken Qin Shujian to the altar where the evil spirit was sealed. Compared to the 9-star array altar in the limestone stronghold, the altar where the evil spirit was sealed was more complicated. It was a combined sealing array. The sealing power might not be as strong as that of the limestone stronghold, but it was definitely not much weaker. According to the information given by Marquis Baiyun, inside the seal, there were 3 evil spirits. Staring at the seal for a while, Qin Shujian turned to Zhao Heng and said, "Commander Zhao, please leave first. No one in Dongle's stronghold is allowed to come within 300 feet of the seal. If I don't come out, I also hope that the people in the stronghold won't do anything without permission." "Okay." Zhao Heng nodded solemnly. In this matter, he didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless, nor would he show off his ability. If a demon calamity happened, it wasn't something that a mere commander of a stronghold like him could bear. If something went wrong, it was a small matter if he died alone, but if he implicated the people behind him, the impact would be huge. After Zhao Heng left, Qin Shujian took out the 9-square array disc and arranged it according to the 9 palaces and 8 trigrams. Finally, it hid in the void. At the same time, he looked at the seal in front of him, gathered many array patterns in his hand, and then bombarded the seal. In an instant, the array patterns in the seal shone brightly, as if it was resisting something. Compared to the broken seals in other places, the seal in Dongle's stronghold was still intact. Similarly, an undamaged seal was the same as being in front of an array master. If Qin Shujian wanted to break this array, there was no difference between fighting with an array grandmaster from a distance. Buzz, the void trembled. Qin Shujian waved his hand, and array patterns fell, trying to find a flaw in the seal. Such a remote fight. This was the first time he had done so. The arrays that he had broken before were all incomplete, and the flaws were also very obvious. Such a perfect array like this was the first time he had officially fought. Fighting with an array grandmaster from a distance, Qin Shujian was also a little excited. Back then, he had only sat down and discussed the Tao with Ming Jingshan, and they had never really competed in arrays. Now, although he didn't know who was the expert who set up this array, but there was no doubt about it. The other party was an array grandmaster expert, but judging from his attainments in arrays, when he set up the array, he had not yet reached the peak of the array grandmaster level. However, this array had been set up for hundreds of years. Although the other party had not reached the peak of the array grandmaster level hundreds of years ago, perhaps hundreds of years later, he had already reached this level. Of course, these things could not affect the speed at which Qin Shujian broke the array. The deduction and improvement of the source of life. Every step of improvement was the peak of the current realm. With his current strength at the peak of the array grandmaster level, there was no problem in suppressing the other party. Not long after, as the last rune fell, Yi Zichen's eyes widened. The entire seal array shook violently, and the patterns seemed to come alive, swimming in it like silver snakes. Immediately, they saw the silver snakes break apart. In an instant, the sky changed color, and a large area of thunderclouds covered the entire Dongdel stronghold. The flickering dark red lightning gave people an ominous feeling in their hearts. The thunderclouds are pressing down on the city. The evil spirit must have broken out of the seal. Zhao Heng's face was solemn, and he spat out a few words with difficulty. Just a moment ago, he had already seen the fiendish Qi soar into the sky like a scene of the end of the world. It was as if one would fall deep into the evil fiendish Qi if one took one more look at it. Everyone be on guard. Its body, which was more than 200 feet tall, was like a mountain range, giving people a strong visual impact. A violent aura. Immediately it spread out. Chapter 369. The first evil spirit appeared. The second and third evil spirits appeared one after another. The moment the three evil spirits appeared, shocking demonic Qi erupted and spread out in all directions like a wave. He was an evil demon. Its power was inferior to Tianyi Evil Lord. But when the three evil spirits joined forces, even Tianyi Evil Lord would have to avoid them. Until now, Qin Shujian also knew the division between the evil spirits. Most of the evil spirits were below the 7th level of the sky human realm. There were very few above the 7th level of the sky human realm. As for the demon gods, although they were the same as evil spirits, they were above ordinary evil spirits. All the demon gods, they were at least at the 7th level of the sky human realm. In the Great Zhao, those at the 7th level of the sky human realm could be called almighty. This information. Previously, Qin Shujian had also done a lot of hard work, lest he, the reincarnation of a mighty figure, went out and embarrassed himself. However, according to his guess, there shouldn't be any demon gods sealed in Baiyun Manor. Even the Tianyi Evil Lord sealed in the 9-star array was far from the 7th level of the sky human realm, let alone a demon god. To this, Qin Shujian also felt that it was normal. Ordinary array masters could only deal with experts who had just entered the sky human realm. Peak master like him could only contend against the 3rd level of the sky human realm. To seal a demon god at the 7th level of the sky human realm, most likely in the Great Zhao, there wasn't such an array master. When the 3 demon gods appeared, Qin Shujian had already displayed the effect of the spirit eye. Evil Lord Kong Ming, Evil Lord Bai Luo, Evil Lord Zhang Hai. Like Tianyi Evil Lord, the three evil spirits didn't reveal anything other than their names. To this, Qin Shujian was used to it. 1. When the three evil spirits stood on the ground, their demonic chi spread out. The 9-square array disc hidden in the void, the array engraved inside finally activated. The moment the array pattern erupted, it connected with the other array discs. In an instant, heaven and earth changed, the stars moved. When the three evil spirits came back to their senses, they found themselves in a desolate land. Heaven and earth transformation, Grand Master level formation, Evil Lord Kongming said sinisterly. While speaking, his line of sight had already followed the spiritual eye's piercing, and he had sensed something in the darkness, and looked towards a certain location. In the end, it fell directly on Qin Shujian. Human, were you the one who set up the formation? What a joke! The Grand Master Array formation set up in the True Dominion is also restricted by the heaven and earth shackles. How much power can it unleash? Do you really think that you can defeat us with just an array formation? Humans are ignorant. However, the fiendish chi was limited after all. In the short span of 10 minutes, even evil Lord Kongming had forgotten how many times his physical body had been cracked. Until now, more than half of his monstrous fiendish chi had been destroyed. From the start of the battle until now, evil Lord Kongming had not completely reacted to what had happened. Why would a human condense 4 universal heavenly locks? Why would a human who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks be so strong? The evil devil clan should have been invincible in the same cultivation realm. In the True Dominion, no human should be a match for them. Why? Why would such a situation occur? Evil Lord Kongming could not figure it out. However, Qin Shujian did not need him to figure it out. After another round of intense attacks, which consumed a lot of evil Lord Kongming's fiendish chi, he directly used the bright monarch hellfire in his dantian. The moment the bright monarch hellfire appeared, it spread along evil Lord Kongming's arm like maggots in a tarsal bone. No matter how turbulent the fiendish chi was, it could not extinguish the bright monarch hellfire. Soon after, the bright monarch hellfire completely engulfed evil Lord Kongming. In the end, evil Lord Kongming's body gradually turned into ashes amidst his angry and painful roars. Only a fire lotus was left floating quietly. As for evil Lord Azure Fall and evil Lord Hidden Ocean, they were both shocked and furious when they saw this scene. It seemed that they had not expected evil Lord Kongming to die so quickly. It's your turn! Qin Shujian swallowed the fire lotus and his 430-foot spirit deity grew to 440 feet. Then, he shifted his gaze away from evil Lord Azure Fall and smiled sinisterly. In the outside world, ever since the array formation had been raised, no one could see what was happening inside the array formation. Only when the void trembled and the terrifying shockwaves spread out could one understand what kind of intense battle was taking place inside the array formation. Commander Zhao, do you think Sect Master Qin can win? The Marquis must have extraordinary means to make him come. Although the 3 evil devils are strong, they should not be able to do anything to Sect Master Qin. Zhao Heng shook his head and replied. To be honest, he was not confident. But so what? Now that the array had been set up, no one had the ability to interfere. Furthermore, even if they could charge into the array formation, they would not be qualified to participate in the battle. Others did not know how terrifying the evil devils were, but Zhao Heng was different. When a devil calamity had occurred, he had followed the army to battle. He had seen with his own eyes how a true Dominion evil devil had easily torn 3 divine martial realm cultivators into pieces. That kind of strength had truly reached a terrifying level. In the current True Dominion, the so-called peak true martial realm cultivators could not withstand a single blow from the evil devils. If Qin Shujian was defeated, the entire East Joy stronghold would be finished. At this thought, Zhao Heng took a deep breath and said in a low voice, Order everyone to be on guard. If anything unusual happens, attack the evil devils immediately. Yes. Instantly, the atmosphere in the entire East Joy stronghold became more solemn. Not long later, the void trembled and thousands of array patterns appeared in the void. The space in front of them was rolled up like a curtain and turned into a 9-sided array disk that floated in midair. The scene behind the curtain was completely displayed in front of everyone. When they saw this, Zhao Heng heaved a huge sigh of relief. This was because Qin Shujian was the only one standing in the air in his line of sight. The 3 evil spirits were nowhere to be seen. Combined with the commotion just now and the shattered ground, he knew what had happened. On the other side, as Qin Shujian waved his hand, the 9-sided array discs flew toward him one after another, and were put into his storage ring one by one. After doing all this, he turned around and began to descend toward Zhao Heng. "Congratulations on your victory, Sect Master Qin! The evil devils have been killed. I will set up an array formation there later to purify the remaining devil qi. I will not participate in anything else. Sect Master Qin's actions are akin to giving me a new lease of life." "Thank you." Zhao Heng thanked him gratefully. At the same time, he was shocked by Qin Shujian's strength from the bottom of his heart. The 3 evil devils, they had all been killed in less than 2 hours. This kind of strength, it was truly shocking. Qin Shujian said. "Previously, I used the materials in the East Joy Stronghold storehouse to refine something useful to me. I'm afraid I can't return it. It's just some materials. It's my East Joy Stronghold's honor to have Sect Master Qin take a fancy to them. How can I let you return them? Then I'll have to thank you." Hearing this, Qin Shujian revealed a slight smile on his face. Although he didn't take a fancy to the 9-sided array disc, it would still be useful to deal with the other evil devils later on. Rather than wasting time to refine it again, it was better to continue using the 9-sided array disc. As for taking some of the forging materials from the East Joy Stronghold storehouse, Qin Shujian didn't feel embarrassed about it. After all, he had eliminated the hidden dangers of the evil devils for the East Joy Stronghold. In other words, he might have even saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of people in the future. Just this matter alone, it wouldn't be too much for Sect Master Qin to take some 6th-grade materials. Chapter 370. In the past month, Qin Shujian had killed a total of 19 demons from 15 fortresses in the 6 directions True Dominion. As a reward, his spiritual deity had grown to 490 feet. Spiritual deity 490 feet. Qin Shujian felt that his spiritual deity had once again reached the limit of what his body could bear. Under such circumstances, he could only temporarily stop increasing the power of his spiritual deity, and slowly refine his skyrocketing strength so that it would be more compatible with his body. Only then could he devour the fire lotus again and push his spiritual deity to a higher level. Although it would take time to refine. However, Qin Shujian did not return to Mount Liang. After all, a round trip would take a lot of time. Thus, he simply found a nearby city and stayed there as a place to cultivate. Although Origin Sect lacked money, he did not lack money. Therefore, when Qin Shujian checked into the inn, he directly chose the best room and stayed there. In the guest room, Qin Shujian sat cross-legged. However, he did not cultivate immediately. Instead, he focused on his attribute panel. In the past month, in addition to the 3 months of seclusion, at this moment, the number of life sources had once again broken through the 100 million mark and reached 110 million. As for the luck points, he now had 530 points. After deducting his original luck points, his luck points had increased by more than 400 points in the past month. This also meant that at least 40 evil demons had died, either directly or indirectly, at his hands. "I've killed 19 of them, so the remaining 20 or so should be contributed by the disciples and elders of the sect." Qin Shujian was very satisfied with his current harvest. 530 luck points. If he exchanged them for life sources, he would have more than 50 million luck points. And it had only been a month. If he pushed it back a few more months, it would not be a problem for his luck points to reach a few thousand points. When that time came, it would be a good choice whether he converted them into life sources or used them to upgrade Tao weapons. If he used a few thousand luck points, he could at least upgrade the 1,000 mountain blood from a 3-sealed Tao weapon to a 4-sealed Tao weapon. I wonder if I can upgrade the sect to a 6th grade force if I upgrade the 1,000 mountain blood, Qin Shujian thought to himself. After being promoted to a grade 6 force, the Sky Origin sect would at least have a large number of airborne realm cultivators and even illustrious Saint realm cultivators. When that time comes, only then would they be qualified to stand shoulder to shoulder with the strength of a peak sect. After all, at that time, even if the Yuan sect didn't have any peak experts, just 1,000 prominent divine stage experts in the upper echelons would be enough to create a great deterrent force to any force. According to his understanding, some of the peak sects didn't even have 1,000 prominent domain experts. However, Qin Shujian also didn't think that it would be so easy to become a grade 6 force. 4-sealed Dao artifacts were rare. However, it was impossible for some sects with deep foundations to not have any. Even a great sect of the spirit domain like the Celestial sect could possess a 2-sealed Dao artifact, let alone a great sect. That was a sect that was completely above the major sects of the major regions. When a sect is promoted to a higher level, it will require a huge amount of luck points. Until now, I have not heard of any sect that has reached the level of a grade 6 force. From the looks of it, it won't be easy to transform from a 5th grade force to a 6th grade force. Although it wasn't easy to become a 6th grade force, Qin Shujian also didn't have much of a pressing mentality. To him, the promotion of a force would increase the overall strength of the sect. This was definitely a good thing. But this way, some people in the sect would inevitably have thoughts of slacking off. If not, what happened with Li Yongzhang would happen again. Therefore, even if he had the foundation to promote, Qin Shujian still had to seriously consider whether it was worth it. Suppressing the thoughts in his heart, Qin Shujian looked at the large amount of life force and finally his thoughts landed on the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon. When his thoughts landed, 2 notifications appeared. One was to promote, the other was to deduce. Promotion was to raise his 8th stage of the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon to the 9th stage. Deduction was to deduce the 10th stage of the spirit martial technique based on the foundation of the 9th stage. In other words, to deduce the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon to a complete level. Seeing this, Qin Shujian hesitated for a moment, and finally chose to deduce it. This wasn't Mount Liang. If he rashly broke through, it would cause too much of a commotion. He didn't want to attract attention for no reason, mainly because there were no benefits. With a thought, 100 million life force was emptied. Following that, the memories of the 10th stage of the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon appeared in his mind. Seeing this, Qin Shujian's heart relaxed. Deducing the 9th stage is 50 million points, and the 10th stage is 100 million points. In that case, I only need to accumulate 140 million points of life force to perfectly upgrade the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon to the peak of the vision domain stage. This way, he could be considered a true peak of the vision domain stage cultivator. Not like this. On the surface, others would think that he was at the peak of the vision domain stage, and that he had broken through the limit. But in reality, only he knew. He was only at the 8th level of the vision domain stage. After digesting the information of the 10th stage of the spirit martial technique of the Gui Yuan ancestral cannon, Qin Shujian calmed down and silently polished the compatibility between the spirit god and his body. The next day, a ray of sunlight shone in from the window. Qin Shujian's abdomen slightly inhaled. In the sunlight that shone in, there seemed to be a faint purple aura that gathered like a stream and entered his body along with his breathing. Immediately, the purple aura entered his body. The true essence in his dantian slightly rolled, and the Ming King Hellfire seemed to be a bit brighter. The spirit god did not grow, but when the purple aura entered his body, the compatibility with his body seemed to have become a bit closer. This kind of change was very subtle. Only people who had extremely strong control over their body would be able to detect it. The purple aura of heaven and earth, the effect is truly extraordinary. Qin Shujian opened his eyes and sighed. Unfortunately, every day, only when the sun rose in the east, would there be a moment where the purple aura would be born from heaven and earth. After that moment, the purple aura no longer existed. Or else, to be able to continuously absorb the purple aura of heaven and earth, compared to being in a treasure land with dense spiritual aura, one's cultivation would be much faster. No wonder there was a rumor in my previous life that immortals could cultivate immortality by breathing in the morning dew and the purple aura. Perhaps there really were immortals in the world of my previous life. Qin Shujian thought in his heart. However, these things had completely left him. Although he had not seriously communicated with the players, his spiritual sense was very strong. Even if he did not deliberately spread it, he could still detect every movement in the sect. From the conversations of some players, Qin Shujian could basically guess. The real world where the players were in was different from the world where he was in his previous life. The specific difference between the two was there. Qin Shujian was not sure. The only thing he could be sure of was the two worlds were different worlds. As for where the world of his previous life was, that was even more impossible to say. However, Qin Shujian did not intend to delve into it. Although he came to this world and did not have the peace of his previous world, he preferred this feeling now. More importantly, in his previous life, he had been mediocre for decades. No matter how talented he was, he could not escape the cycle of life and death. But here, as long as his cultivation was high enough, he could live for 100 years, 500 years, 1,000 years, or even longer. It could even be said, deep in Qin Shujian's heart, there was a dream to pursue immortality. Of course, these were too far away from him. Even the human emperor did not dare to talk about immortality. With his current realm, he had not even stepped into the divine martial realm. What qualifications did he have to talk about immortality? Then, Qin Shujian stood up from the bed, then called the waiter and asked him to bring him a basin of water. Not long after, there was a knock on the door. "Sir, here is what you want. The door is not locked. Come in yourself." After saying that, the door was pushed open. A simple and honest-looking young man brought in a copper basin filled with water and then put it on the table. Qin Shujian took out a silver ingot from his arms and handed it to the waiter. "This is your reward." "Thank you, sir. If you have any other orders, just let me know. I will definitely do it well." The waiter took the silver ingot and put it into his arms without looking at it. Then, his face became more enthusiastic. Qin Shujian waved his hand. "I don't need anything. You can leave now." "I'll take my leave." When the waiter left the room, he closed the door sensibly. Then, he took out the silver ingot from his arms and put it in his mouth and bit it hard. Then he saw the teeth marks on the silver ingot. A bright smile immediately appeared on his face. It was worth it. It was really worth it this time. A single silver ingot from the other party was equivalent to a few months of his salary. It was a completely unexpected fortune. Thinking of this, he put the silver ingot into his arms, looked around, and then walked out. In the room, Qin Shujian suddenly shook his head and laughed. He said to himself, "This waiter is not bad. He has a good eye." When the waiter took the silver ingot, he did not look at it twice. After he left, he checked the authenticity of the silver ingot. This way of doing things would not make people feel disgusted. Of course, for him, whether the waiter was in the room or outside, everything he did could not be hidden from his perception. After a simple wash, Qin Shujian opened the door and went downstairs. Suddenly, bustling noises could be heard from the lobby. When he went down the stairs and entered the lobby, he saw that there were many people sitting there. Some were ordinary businessmen, some were cultivators in the cultivation world, and some were similar to Jianghu's chivalrous people. Speaking of this, it was necessary to say more. That was the so-called Jianghu chivalrous people were actually people in the cultivation world. But to be serious, it's not that simple. Without breaking through the peak of qi and blood, one could not be considered to have really stepped into the cultivation world. He just had a little more brute force and could barely be considered a master. Because of this, under the cultivators in the cultivation world, there was a group of Jianghu chivalrous people. Chapter 371. For these Jianghu heroes, Qin Shujian rarely paid attention to them, because the difference in status between the two was too great. A prominent divine stage cultivator who could live for 1,000 years, and an ordinary martial artist who could not even reach the 6th level of the martial arts. Waving his hand, a large number of them would have died. The two sides were simply not on the same level. But even so. But in fact, these Jianghu heroes, compared to the cultivators of the cultivation world, were not less in number. After all, cultivation was about talent. Not everyone would be able to break through to the peak of qi and blood, and not everyone would have the opportunity to step into the real martial arts realm, or even a higher level. More people. They were lucky enough to reach the 1st or 2nd level of the martial arts, and then wasted their lives without any progress. These people did not have any hope in cultivation. They would not be willing to waste the rest of their time on illusory things. So, they would completely bid farewell to the cultivation world, and become a Jianghu expert in the ordinary world, doing what they thought was chivalrous or beneficial to themselves. Looking at the situation in the lobby, Qin Shujian did not stay for too long, and planned to go out and take a look. Also at this time, the waiter from before came up again, and asked politely and respectfully, "Master, do you need anything to eat?" "No need for now, I want to walk by myself." "Master, take care." Seeing this, the waiter tactfully retreated to the side. With his many years of experience, he could see that the person in front of him was not an ordinary person. He must be either respectable or noble. If he could serve him well, he might have a chance to change his life. No one would be willing to be a waiter for their whole life, and no one would be willing to waste their life like this. There was such an opportunity in front of him. The waiter naturally wanted to grasp it. But he also knew very well that this kind of thing could not be rushed. If he caused the other party to dislike him, then the loss would not be worth it. On the other side, Qin Shujian left the inn, and began to wander on the street. He was truly wandering, without any special purpose. For a long time, Qin Shujian found that if he was not cultivating, he was fighting monsters, or he was on the way to cultivate or fight monsters. In comparison, the short period of leisure in the cold mountain village no longer existed. From beginning to end, his mind was in a tense state, or rather, there was something behind him that was driving him away. Even if he seemed relaxed on the surface, secretly, he did not relax for even a moment. Qin Shujian also understood that the way of cultivation was to alternate between tension and relaxation, but he still couldn't find a way to let himself relax. Until now. Walking on the street like an ordinary citizen, he felt the people around him coming and going. The peddlers' voices made him feel relaxed all of a sudden. At this moment, the fusion between the spiritual divinity and the fleshly body seemed to have become even closer. It seems that blindly cultivating may not be a good thing. Sometimes you have to combine work and rest in order to cultivate. Qin Shujian shook his head and laughed. Then, he walked aimlessly in the crowd. He met a good-looking one. He stopped and watched for a while. When he encountered something delicious, he would also sit down and order a portion to taste it. For a vision divine stage cultivator, Qin Shujian had already reached the level of fasting. Even if his body automatically absorbed heaven and earth spirit energy, it was enough to offset his daily consumption. The reason why he sat down to eat, it was not because of any other reason, but because he simply wanted to satisfy his appetite. "Shopkeeper, how much is it?" Qin Shujian put down the bowl and chopsticks in his hand and then said to the shopkeeper. This was a small stall, and the owner was not a young and strong lad. He was just an old man who was over 50 years old. Time had already left wrinkles on his face, but the difference was that his body was still tall and straight. It was as if the heavy burden of life could not crush this old man. Hearing this, the old man smiled and said, 3 coins. Then, Qin Shujian got up and handed over the 3 coins. The old man took it with a smile and then said, "Take care, dear customer." "Haha, how long has this stall been open for?" Qin Shujian asked casually. "It has been 20 or 30 years. The old man answered without hesitation. 20 or 30 years. For an ordinary person, it was more than half of their life. Hearing this, Qin Shujian smiled again, then cupped his hands slightly and said, "I'll take my leave first. Take care, dear customer. Come often when you have time." "Sure." Qin Shujian nodded, then left the old man's stall and walked to other places. The bowl of food on the stall just now. For him, it had been completely digested as soon as it entered his stomach. But the taste still remained between his lips and teeth. Qin Shujian had made up his mind that if he did not leave during this period, he would come and taste it every day. Next, he entered the state of wandering again. Along the way, he met many cultivators, but their strength was not very strong. Only a few people could enter the real martial arts realm. Strictly speaking, the cultivation world and the mortal world were not so separated. There were many ordinary people in this world, but there were also many cultivators. There were often cultivators mixed in with ordinary people. Unless they were also cultivators, it was not difficult to notice the difference. For these things, Qin Shujian did not pay too much attention to them. Aside from encountering cultivators, as a player who was everywhere, he naturally encountered quite a few as well. However, not many of these players could recognize Qin Shujian. After all, no matter how famous the Liang Mountain Fort Master was, it was impossible for all the players to recognize him. Furthermore, Qin Shujian had been very quiet recently. Some people might have heard of the Liang Mountain Fort Master's name, but they might not be able to recognize him. For this, Qin Shujian was also happy to be free. The city was not very big, but it was not small either. Compared to the Baifeng city and the ancient city, this city was slightly smaller. However, compared to the Liang Mountain city, it was more than twice as big. This was just an ordinary city in the True Dominion. It did not even have a teleportation door. Qin Shujian did not use his cultivation level. It took him an entire day to walk around the entire city. By the time he returned to the inn, it was almost evening. When Qin Shujian returned, the waiter appeared at the right time, as if he had been waiting there the whole time. He said respectfully, "Sir, do you need anything to eat? Then give me a table of food and wine. As for what to serve, you can decide for me." "All right. Sir, would you like to eat in the guest room or in the main hall?" Qin Shujian scanned the main hall, which was half full. Then, he pointed at an empty seat and said, "I will sit there." "All right. Sir, please take a seat. I will make the arrangements now." "Okay." Upon hearing this, Qin Shujian nodded slightly. Then, he walked to an empty table and sat down. Then, he glanced at the waiter's departing figure from the corner of his eyes. There was a faint smile on his face. Why was the waiter so enthusiastic? Even if he did not say it out loud, he could guess. When it came to such matters, Qin Shujian did not dislike it. Instead, he admired it a little. In his eyes, only a person who could understand what an opportunity was and would work hard to fight for it was barely qualified. They knew how to improve themselves. They knew how to seize opportunities. However, they would not act too excessively and make others hate them. If a person like the waiter was given a chance, it would not be a big problem for him to live a better life than ordinary people, not to mention anything else. These things, Qin Shujian saw it all, but he didn't reveal too much about it. Some appreciation was one thing. But if he wanted to give some opportunities, it would depend on his mood. Sitting in the main hall, he was surrounded by the voices of others. There were all kinds of topics from all over the world. There were even many topics about cultivators. All kinds of topics made it a little noisy. I heard that a 30 to 40 feet long worm appeared in the 10-mile slope. It specialized in attacking the passing merchants. In the end, the experts of the Jade Spring sect took action and killed it. What's a 30 to 40 feet big head? You know about the beast tied a few days ago, right? I even saw a demonic beast that was 20 to 30 feet big like a small mountain. That guy was very powerful. Every step he took made the ground tremble. Hiss. Qin Shujian had a faint smile on his face. He did not dislike these things. Instead, he was interested in listening. For no other reason. It was just that he liked to be lively. After waiting for about 10 minutes, the waiter served the dishes. Not much. It was just a simple 3 dishes, a soup, a pot of wine, and a bowl of white rice. After all the dishes were served, the waiter smiled and said, "Master, you can try them. These are some of the more famous dishes in this restaurant. Try them and see if they are to your taste. Not bad. Then I'll take my leave first. If there's anything else, Master can instruct me again." After saying that, the waiter tactfully left. After the waiter left, Qin Shujian picked up a mouthful of food and put it into his mouth to chew. The taste was just as the waiter said. It was indeed not bad. The dishes did not have any spiritual energy. Obviously, they were just ordinary ingredients. But when they were stir-fried, there was a different taste. While eating, he listened to the discussions of the people around him. When he heard something interesting, Qin Shujian's face revealed a smile. Then, he poured himself a cup of wine, tasting and listening. Soon, the time it took to finish a meal passed. Qin Shujian did not stay in the lobby for too long. He went straight upstairs and returned to his room. When he was staying, he had already given dozens of taels of silver at one time. The silver was enough for him to stay for a long time, including his daily food. When the silver was used up, the shopkeeper would naturally tell him. So, this also avoided the trouble of paying the bill after one meal. In the following days, Qin Shujian was like ordinary people. He got up in the morning and went out for a stroll. Every day when he passed by the old man's stall, he would sit down and eat more. Then, he would come back in the afternoon or evening. He ate something in the lobby, listened to the conversations of the people around him, and then went upstairs to start his daily practice. He went back and forth like this. Time passed quietly. Chapter 372. Swoosh! Zhang Ergu's figure flashed through the forest, leaving only afterimages. Behind him, a silver-haired young man was chasing closely behind him. Until now, Zhang Ergu was still in a state of confusion. He had no idea what was going on. He was just strolling around the ordinary realm when he encountered the silver-haired young man. Perhaps because the cosmic bow was too eye-catching, the silver-haired young man wanted to snatch it. When it came to such matters, Zhang Ergu said that it wasn't his first time encountering such matters. He was already very familiar with how to deal with such matters. So, when the silver-haired young man was about to make a move, Zhang Ergu took the initiative to reveal his identity as an elder of the Sky Origin sect. This title was very useful not only in Beiyin Mansion but also in the cultivation world of the Great 13 Prefectures. However, after the other party heard his identity, not only did he not stop, he attacked wildly instead. He had the cosmic bow in his hand. Zhang Ergu could even fight a grand cultivator of the god martial realm for a bit. However, he didn't know where the silver-haired young man came from. He also had a Dao artifact in his hand. Although its quality was inferior to the cosmic bow, the other party was much stronger than him. After a few rounds, Zhang Ergu had no choice but to flee. Boom! Sensing the aura behind him, the cosmic bow by his side pulled the bowstring on its own and condensed a large amount of heaven and earth spirit chi into several arrows that shot out in an attempt to stop the other party's pursuit. Did you kill someone's entire family? Or did you do something immoral? Otherwise, why would he keep chasing after you? After the Qianqun Bao finished shooting the arrow, he followed behind Zhang Ergu and escaped. In terms of fleeing speed, a two-seal Dao artifact was actually faster than Zhang Ergu, a spirit god realm cultivator. However, the cosmic Bao knew, if it abandoned Zhang Ergu and fled on its own, then its Dao artifact career might come to an end. After dripping blood on it to claim ownership, even if the cosmic Bao wanted to hide, Qin Shujian could rely on the connection between the two to find it. So, at this moment, it had no choice but to escape with Zhang Ergu. Hearing this, Zhang Ergu's face darkened. Although he was running for his life, he couldn't help but turn his head and spit out a mouthful of saliva. He fiercely said, "Don't slander me. I think it's because you're too flamboyant that they want to kill you. He is a Dao artifact, you are also a Dao artifact. But you're the one who talks the most nonsense. If they don't snatch it from you, who will they snatch it from? Aren't you just good at talking? What are you showing off for?" Speaking of which, Zhang Ergu felt that his guess was reasonable. Then, he viciously said to the Cosmos Bao, "Hurry up and think of a way. If this continues, we will all be finished." The Cosmos Bao was speechless. When needed, old Qian would shout. When he didn't need to, he would speak ill of him. Even if it was just a Dao artifact, it still had its dignity. However, he thought about it seriously. The Cosmos Bao still decided not to lower itself to Zhang Ergu's level. "What can I do? Didn't the sect master give you a spirit stone? Throw a Grand Master array formation over. Apart from a Heaven Man Major Cultivator, everyone else is trash." Array formation. Upon hearing this, Zhang Ergu's face darkened again. Of course, he wouldn't forget the existence of this thing. However, it was a life-saving trump card. If he didn't use it on a Heaven Man Major Cultivator or a Peak Divine Martial Realm Expert, Zhang Ergu felt that it would be a waste. As for the fella behind him, although he was powerful, according to his estimation, he was at most at the peak Vision Saint realm. Zhang Ergu felt that his heart would ache if he used such a life-saving trump card on a Vision Saint realm cultivator deep in the mountains. At this moment, a strong wind was approaching from behind. Zhang Ergu didn't dare waste his breath. The quintessential essence in his body erupted once again, and his speed increased greatly. As for the Cosmos Bao, it also pulled the bowstring and condensed spirit arrows in the air, causing many obstacles for the other party. Fortunately, this was only the true Dominion. Although the pursuer could fly, his spiritual force was suppressed and his speed was reduced significantly. Otherwise, Zhang Ergu would have been caught up long ago. "Kid, you can't escape." Qiu Yushan's spiritual force lifted his body into the air and looked down at the person and Bao escaping below. His cold voice was transmitted over. He hadn't expected that he would encounter people from the Essence sect here. At first, Qiu Yushan had only seen that the Cosmos Bao could speak human language and was rather magical. Thus, he had thought of snatching the Dao artifact. In the end, when Zhang Ergu introduced himself, he realized that the other party was actually from the Essence sect. Instantly, Qiu Yushan felt a monstrous fury surging from his heart. His killing intent could no longer be suppressed. In fact, even the wound on his chest, which had already healed, started to ache faintly again. That thunderous saber move. It had almost killed him. In the end, the Heaven Man Major Demon of his own race had saved him. Then, he had consumed a lot of divine medicine and his injuries had healed. Such pain, this made Qiu Yushan have a strong hatred for the Essence sect. However, previously, Marquis Baiyun had entered the Endless Mountain Range and killed the great demon of the Five Elements beast race. The power of the Almighty had deterred many demon clans and they didn't dare to act rashly. Although the moon-devouring wolf race was strong, they were not much stronger than the Five Elements beast race. Under such circumstances, the moon-devouring wolf race wouldn't dare to rashly invade the Baiyun mansion again. Or else, if Marquis Baiyun killed his way into the Endless Mountain Range again, there wouldn't be any experts in the moon-devouring wolf race who could stop an almighty. At that time, the entire moon-devouring wolf race would suffer heavy losses. In addition, although the Essence sect wasn't very strong, it wasn't that easy to provoke either. Its sect master was a famous array master who had personally killed the envoy of the Black Abyss of the 12 underworld envoys. Needless to say, the other party could still be safe and sound under the assassination of the Heaven Demon Guards. Such strength, he couldn't be underestimated. So, although Qiu Yushan hated the Essence sect very much, he didn't really enter the Baiyun mansion to cause any trouble. If he wasn't careful, he would be killed too. Marquis Baiyun aside, he was no match for the sect master of the Essence sect. However, Qiu Yushan didn't have any scruples in the Fallen Moon mansion. The Essence sect elder. At the thought of this, he sneered in his heart. The person he wanted to kill was the Essence sect elder. Or else, killing a nobody wouldn't be able to relieve his hatred. Boom! Boom! 2 auras broke through the sky. One chased in the sky while the other sped past below. In the blink of an eye, they had crossed the range of a true dominion. Below, Zhang Ergu's face turned from black to green because he realized that his quintessential essence couldn't take it anymore. The continuous outbursts in a short period of time consumed a lot of his quintessential essence. From the moment he had been chased until now, Zhang Erge had crossed no less than 3 true dominions and his quintessential essence had already reached a critical point where it was about to dry up. At this moment, the cosmic bow couldn't stand it anymore. Why are you running to the wilderness? Don't you know how to run to those sects and cities? You showed your identity as the Essence sect elder. Are you afraid that others won't help you? Upon hearing this, Zhang Erge's eyes lit up instantly. That's right. He had almost forgotten about this. Previously, he had been chased after announcing his identity. As a result, Zhang Erge didn't dare to use his Essence sect name carelessly for fear of attracting more people. However, after the reminder of the cosmic bow, he suddenly came to a realization. That's right. The Essence sect had many enemies outside. However, at the same time, many people were willing to accept the name of a top sect. Upon thinking of this, Zhang Erge immediately changed his direction and no longer chose a remote place to escape. Take out the cloud-piercing arrow. Here you go! Upon hearing this, Zhang Erge took out the cloud-piercing arrow from his storage ring. Then, the cloud-piercing arrow seemed to sense something and instantly merged with the cosmic bow. Lad, you have been chasing me for so long. Take my arrow! After all, the cosmic bow was a two-sealed Dao weapon. After being chased for so long, how could he not care about his reputation? Immediately, an arrow was knocked on the bow. A cold light pierced through the void and directly shot towards the figure in the distance. Qiu Yushan, who was originally chasing, suddenly felt a strong sense of danger. Then, he saw the cold light occupying his line of sight. Without thinking, he took out a bronze mirror. Immediately after, a layer of golden shield appeared, protecting his entire body. Boom! The cold light didn't arrive. In an instant, it pierced through the golden shield and fiercely bombarded the bronze mirror. A terrifying force exploded from within. Without thinking, Qiu Yushan propped up his protective qi and the inner yuan in his body crazily poured into the bronze mirror. His body was also pushed back by this powerful force. In the end, the arrow's power was exhausted. It turned back into a stream of light and flew back. Zhang Erge's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. After grabbing the cloud-piercing arrow and putting it into his storage ring, he didn't stop fleeing. You want to leave? Qiu Yushan suppressed the surging qi and blood in his body. He glanced at the undamaged bronze mirror and then saw Zhang Erge, who was only a black dot left. Immediately, the inner yuan in his body burst out, and he pushed his divine consciousness to the limit and chased after him again. The two of them, one in front and one behind. Just like that, they rampaged. Along the way, Zhang Erge would shout at the top of his lungs as long as he saw someone. I'm an elder of the Yuan sect. Now that I'm being chased by a thief, I'll reward whoever can help me. His voice was very loud. Even in a radius of dozens of miles, one could faintly hear it. Many cultivators couldn't help but want to go over and take a look when they heard this. But then, when they saw Qiu Yushan, who was chasing in the air, they stopped in their tracks. Although the elder of the Yuan sect was famous, the person chasing after him was obviously not a good person. Since he dared to chase after the Yuan sect, he must not be afraid of the Yuan sect's power. Moreover, looking at his figure in the air, he was at least in the airborne realm, or even stronger. In this way, the people that were originally planning to attack started to hesitate. Obviously, both sides were not people that ordinary cultivators could offend. Suddenly, Zhang Ergu's face turned green. It was useless. It was completely useless. Run directly to the mountain gate of a sect. They'll definitely protect you. Okay. Hearing the suggestion of the Qianquan Bao, Zhang Ergu changed his direction slightly. It wasn't difficult to find a sect. As long as he looked in the direction with the densest spirit qi of heaven and earth, he would most likely find a sect. Chapter 373. Sect Master, something bad has happened. In the main hall of the Flying Crane sect, a deacon rushed in from the outside in shock. Bai Hongzhe frowned and said unhappily, "What's the matter? Why are you panicking?" Even the elders in the main hall were shocked. At that moment, they were all looking at the deacon who had barged in unhappily. Suddenly being stared at by so many people, the deacon instantly felt immense pressure. Hearing this, he forced himself to calm down, but his tone was still extremely fast. Reporting to Sect Master, a person who claims to be an elder of Yuan sect is currently being pursued by experts. He's heading towards the sect now. What? Hearing that, Bai Hongzhe stood up from his seat with a shocked expression on his face. As for the other elders, their faces were filled with shock too. An elder of Yuan sect being chased by someone. This amount of information was a bit too much. However, Bai Hongzhe only hesitated for a moment before walking out of the main hall. Although he didn't know why an elder of Yuan sect was being chased. However, there was one thing that he was clear about. If the other party died in front of the Flying Crane sect's mountain gate, the Flying Crane sect would definitely not be able to get away with it. At best, they would be leaving him in the lurch. At worst, they would be indirectly killing him. Based on Bai Hongzhe's understanding of these top sects, they were all domineering and tyrannical. As long as they were involved, they might be annihilated at any time. Especially Qin Shijian's reputation. Among the 13 prefectures of the great Zhao dynasty, he wasn't considered great. As the reputation of this array formation master spread, the news of the destruction of the sect had long spread. A small conflict. It would lead to the destruction of the sect. If an elder died in front of the Flying Crane sect's mountain gate, Yuan sect would dig up the ancestral grave of the Flying Crane sect. Therefore, after hearing the news, Bai Hongzhe had already made up his mind. That was, the elder of Yuan sect must not die, or rather, he must not die in the territory of the Flying Crane sect. As Bai Hongzhe rushed out, the elders in the main hall couldn't sit still anymore and left the main hall one after another. Outside, Zhang Ergu was still being chased. However, he already saw the mountain gate of the Flying Crane sect. Not only that, he also saw cultivators coming out of the sect. After a rough scan of his aura, he found a few physical invulnerability realm experts. Among them, there was even a suspected peak physical invulnerability realm expert. There was almost no doubt about it. Zhang Ergu knew that these people must be the upper echelons of this sect. Furthermore, the fact that they had a peak physical invulnerability realm cultivator meant that they were considered top-notch among the sects of the true dominion. Is the elder of the origin sect, Bai Hongzhe of the Flying Crane sect, welcoming you? A strange glint flashed across Bai Hongzhe's eyes as he looked at Zhang Ergu and the Qianquan Bao beside him. Soon after, he cupped his hands together and said in a clear voice. The Tao artifact followed suit. As expected of the foundation of a top sect, an elder-level problem would be able to wield a Tao artifact. To think that his Flying Crane sect only had a spirit artifact guarding the sect. Even so. However, Bai Hongzhe wasn't greedy at all. He knew very well what he should and shouldn't take. On the other side, upon hearing that, Zhang Ergu immediately sped up and landed in front of Bai Hongzhe. Origin Sect Outer Sect Elder Zhang Ergu. Greetings, Sect Master Bai. Elder Zhang, you are too kind. The corners of Bai Hongzhe's eyes twitched slightly when he heard the name, Zhang Ergu. However, he recovered very quickly. If he remembered correctly, the Origin Sect used to be a bandit village. Given the standard of a bandit village, Bai Hongzhe only needed to make a simple guess as to what kind of name the people inside would have. Therefore, after hearing Zhang Ergu's name, he was even more certain of his identity. Zhang Ergu said, "This time, I came to the Fallen Moon Prefecture under the orders of the Sect Master. However, I accidentally encountered a strong enemy. I hope that the Flying Crane Sect can lend me a helping hand. I will definitely not forget Sect Master Bai's kindness." Well said. Fellow Taoists in the cultivation world should help each other. There is absolutely no reason for me to sit back and do nothing. Bai Hongzhe smiled faintly as he spoke with a strong sense of righteousness. At this moment, Qiu Yushan was approaching from afar. As he was flying over, that terrifying aura had already caused Bai Hongzhe's expression to change slightly. "All disciples of the Flying Crane Sect above the true martial realm, get ready to fight!" An order was given. Immediately, many disciples of the Flying Crane Sect appeared. The group of elders also stood on Bai Hongzhe. Immediately after, the aura that had gathered erupted and clashed directly with Qiu Yushan. Cultivators were flying. This was the standard of the airborne realm. If they had been in the Spirit Protectorate, given the current strength of the Flying Crane Sect, Bai Hongzhe might not have dared to clash directly with Qiu Yushan. However, this was only the True Dominion. Inside the True Dominion, the peak True Martial Realm was the limit. Apart from people like Qin Shujian, who had condensed the Universal Skylock, anyone who reached the peak True Martial Realm would not be weaker than those experts at the Spirit Martial Realm. This was the strength of the True Dominion's shackles. This was also where Bai Hongzhe's confidence came from. So what if one was at the Airborne Realm? So what if one was at the Divine Martial Realm? A bunch of True Martial Realm and Physical Invulnerability Realm cultivators were waiting here. Why would they be afraid of a mere peak True Martial Realm cultivator whose strength had been forcefully suppressed? Furthermore, Zhang Ergu, the Outer Sect Elder of the Origin Sect, was also present. The cosmic bow floating beside him was also a powerful killing weapon. This way, what was there to be afraid of about a cultivator with an unknown background? Boom! The air exploded. Qiu Yushan had already appeared 30 feet away from Bai Hongzhe and the others. Upon seeing the many cultivators of the Flying Crane Sect before him and Zhang Ergu, who was standing beside Bai Hongzhe, his eyes flashed coldly. "I will only take his life. The people of the Flying Crane Sect had better not interfere without permission. Otherwise, it would not be worth it if your sect was destroyed in the future." Qiu Yushan pointed at Zhang Ergu and scanned the cultivators of the Flying Crane Sect with a sinister gaze. Finally, his gaze stopped on Bai Hongzhe. The threat in his words. It was already beyond words. Upon hearing that, Bai Hongzhe did not get angry. Instead, he looked at Qiu Yushan solemnly and cupped his fists slightly. As the saying goes, it is better to squash enmity than keep it alive. May I know which sect you are from? What feud do you have with Elder Zhang? There are some things that a small sect like the True Dominion has no right to interfere in. You don't dare offend the Origin Sect, but do you dare offend me? Qiu Yushan glanced at him coldly and said disdainfully, "If you help the Origin Sect today, the Flying Crane Sect will be destroyed tomorrow. I want to see if Qin Shujian can protect the Flying Crane Sect. Aren't your words a little too arrogant?" Bai Hongzhe's eyes flashed with anger, but his heart sank. Qiu Yushan's confident words, this made him feel uneasy. The other party had dared to chase after Zhang Ergu so brazenly even after knowing his identity. The power behind him was definitely not weak. It might even be a top-notch sect. If this had been any other time, Bai Hongzhe would definitely not have gotten involved. However, it was different now. it was still the same thing. If Zhang Erge died in the territory of the Flying Crane sect, the Flying Crane sect would not be able to stay out of this. Therefore, Bai Hongzhe did not have the right to stand by and do nothing. It did not matter if he helped or not. The Flying Crane sect would definitely face trouble. If he did not help, if Zhang Erge died, the power behind the person in front of him would not remember anything good about the Flying Crane sect. When the Origin sect came, the Flying Crane sect would only have a path of death. On the contrary, if he helped save Zhang Erge, he might offend the power behind the other person. However, he was indebted to him for saving his life. The Origin sect would most likely not sit by and watch the Flying Crane sect be destroyed. One would definitely die. One would not necessarily die. Bai Hongzhe had already made a decision in his heart which one to choose. When he thought of this, Bai Hongzhe instantly became more unyielding. He took a step forward and said proudly, "With my Flying Crane sect here today, Elder Zhang won't be able to harm a single hair on my head. Please leave." Good. The Flying Crane sect is really gutsy. Qiu Yushan was obviously smiling, but his face was frighteningly ferocious. There seemed to be some changes in the depths of his eyes. A terrifying aura erupted from his body, about to engulf the entire Flying Crane sect. "You have gone overboard." As soon as Bai Hongzhe finished speaking, a powerful aura rose from his body and confronted Qiu Yushan. He was one of the few famous peak true martial realm experts in the True Dominion. In terms of strength, he had never been afraid of anyone in the True Dominion. "Overboard! There is something even more overboard!" Qiu Yushan shouted angrily. He took a step forward and pressed his palm toward Bai Hongzhe. When the palm landed, Bai Hongzhe waved his sleeve. Bai Hongzhe flicked his sleeve and released a powerful gangqi, which collided with the attack. Rumble! This was a fight. Bai Hongzhe's body swayed slightly, but he still stood still. Upon seeing this, Qiu Yushan did not want to waste his breath on him. He immediately took out the bronze mirror, and a beam of golden light shot out of it. When the golden light beam landed, Bai Hongzhe was alerted. The quintessential essence in his body erupted completely while his face turned solemn. When he pointed his finger, the condensed essence of his finger transformed into a white crane and went forward. Boom! The golden beam of light fell, and the white crane in the sky disappeared without a sound. Bai Hongzhe's face changed drastically. He left his original spot without hesitation. Whoosh! As soon as he left, the golden light beam landed on his original spot. The ground melted and shattered silently, and a bottomless hole appeared. "Today, I will exterminate the Flying Crane sect and bury you with the people of the Origin sect." Qiu Yushan let out an insolent laugh. He formed a seal with both hands and the copper mirror flew into the air. In the blink of an eye, it grew to several feet in size. There seemed to be endless flames rising within it as terrifying golden light flickered back and forth. Meanwhile, 2 Dao seals appeared in the middle of the bronze mirror. The moment he saw the Dao seals, Bai Hongzhe's face changed drastically as he exclaimed, "Two-seal Dao artifact!" Chapter 374. Two-seal Dao artifact. For the Flying Crane sect that didn't even have a Dao artifact. The deterrence of a two-seal Dao artifact was too great. Just as Bai Hongzhe's expression changed drastically, Qiu Yushan had already activated the Dao artifact. The bronze mirror floating in the air shone brightly. Then, thousands of rays of golden light condensed into one and blasted down. Everywhere it passed, everything melted away quietly. "Everyone, back off!" Bai Hongzhe roared. Facing the attack of a two-seal Dao artifact, the people of the Flying Crane sect had no chance of resisting at all. But at this moment, a ray of cold light pierced through the void and blasted into the golden light. As the terrifying power exploded, the golden light shattered inch by inch. In the end, the cold light hit the bronze mirror accurately. In an instant, the bronze mirror shook violently. The flames inside rose at this moment, as if there were terrifying birds rushing out of the flames, wanting to fight the cold light. However, the cold light flew back and revealed the shape of an arrow. It fell into Jang Ergu's hand. When Bai Hongza looked over, he saw that. At this moment, Jang Ergu was holding a bow in one hand and a sword in the other. He looked like an expert, giving people a strong sense of shock. It's just a two-sealed Dao artifact. Sect Master Bai, you don't have to panic. Jang Ergu smiled calmly. He wasn't trying to show off. He had already experienced the bronze mirror's means. It was just that. The power of a two-sealed Dao artifact, the cosmic bow, combined with a one-sealed Dao artifact, the cloud-piercing arrow, could be comparable to a three-sealed Dao artifact. What could a mere two-sealed Dao artifact do? This was also why. The reason why Jang Ergu could last so long in the hands of Qiu Yushan. He had a powerful Dao artifact in hand. He could really exert a lot of advantages. Hey, I wasn't sure at first, but now I'm basically sure. It's a little monster. No wonder he dared to chase after us. At this moment, the cosmic bow in Jang Ergu's hand suddenly spoke with an old voice. Hearing that, everyone was startled at first, then their gazes landed on Qiu Yushan. Monster! They didn't expect this at all. However, these words came from the mouth of a Dao artifact, so it was inevitable that they did not dare to easily question it. Of course, a Dao artifact that could speak was already shocking enough. As for Jang Ergu, he did not doubt the Cosmos Bao's words at all. The more time he spent with the Bao, the more he understood how extraordinary it was. His knowledge was profound. Let me say something disgraceful. Jang Ergu felt that even his own sect master might not be able to compare to this longbow. Therefore, after hearing the Bao of Heaven and Earth's words, Jang Ergu's gaze towards Qiu Yushan turned cold. The corners of his mouth curled into a mocking smile. I was wondering who it was that had chased after me for so long. So it's a bastard from the Yao clan. Previously, the demon race drove the demon beast to wreak havoc in the spirit domain of Mount Liang. I haven't settled the score with you yet, but I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to my doorstep. I heard that Marquis Baiyun went deep into the endless mountain range and killed a heavenly human demon. Could it be that your father was killed? I didn't expect that you wouldn't dare to go to the Baiyun mansion for revenge. Instead, you dared to behave atrociously outside. The courage of the demon race is really disappointing. One after another they mocked him. Qiu Yushan's face gradually twisted. I didn't expect you to see through my identity. But even if you know, so what? I'm going to kill you. Since his identity was exposed, he decided to stop hiding. Then, Qiu Yushan's body suddenly twisted and changed into a giant silver wolf. Then, he landed on the ground, and a terrifying and ferocious aura immediately swept out in all directions. Roar! The demon race! His strongest form was his true form. Because the fallen moon mansion was the territory of the human race, Qiu Yushan did not reveal his true form to be safe. He had been walking on the ground in his human form. But now that he had been exposed, there was no need to hide anymore. Qiu Yushan's strength was only at the peak of the true martial realm. Then after revealing his true form, his strength was directly at the peak of the true martial realm. Even Bai Hongza's expression changed again when he sensed the ferocious aura. In the same realm, if the human race did not have enough divine weapons to assist them, their strength would naturally be weaker than the demon race. Only those human race who had cultivated powerful cultivation methods could be at the same realm, not be at a disadvantage when facing the demon race. As for the other people from the Flying Crane sect, many of them were terrified when they saw the giant wolf that was more than 100 feet tall. Its body was as huge as a small hill. Not everyone had the experience of hunting demon beasts. Not to mention that this was not a demon beast, but a demon race that was above demon beasts. For the disciples of the Flying Crane sect, many of them had never seen a real demon race in their entire lives. Even Bai Hongza, it was also his first time seeing the demon race's true form with his own eyes. After all, the demon race hid in the Skyan mountain range and was protected by a large number of demon beasts. Very few people would go deep into the sky and mountain range just to see the demon race with their own eyes. But those who did, 99%, did not have the chance to walk out. The giant silver wolf spoke in human language and said coldly, "Today, all of you will die." As soon as it finished speaking, the ground under its feet suddenly shattered, and its body suddenly shot out like a thunderbolt. A terrifying gust of wind rushed toward Bai Hongzhe's face. Bai Hongzhe instinctively raised his protective energy to block it. Bang! The huge claw that was as big as a millstone bombarded the protective energy and instantly shattered it. The powerful aftershocks spread out. Bai Hongzhe grunted, and his body moved away from its original position. At the same time, the giant claw fell and shattered the mountain rocks under his feet. Buzz! In the sky, flames rose from the bronze mirror and turned into a firebird that swooped down as if it was going to swallow everyone. Before Zhang Ergu could make a move, the cosmic bow and the piercing cloud arrow broke free from his grip and immediately charged toward the firebird. During this time, it had been chased by Qiu Yushan for a long time. Even though it was a Dao artifact, it could not help but feel angry. Part of its anger came from Qiu Yushan. Part of it came from Zhang Ergu. If it were not for the fact that Qiu Yushan was too weak, he would not have ended up being chased. If he was slightly stronger, with its help, he would be able to beat his opponent into a retreat. However, it was different now. Qiu Yushan had the Flying Crane sect and Zhang Ergu to deal with him. The cosmic bow had decided to show the bronze mirror who had the bigger fist. Boom! The arrow flew out and instantly dispersed the firebird. The bronze mirror shook violently. Thousands of golden lights poured down from it, and intertwined into a death net that suppressed the cosmic bow. Heaven and earth spirit chi gathered. The cosmic bow first condensed all the heaven and earth spirit chi into one. When the bowstring was released, the spirit arrow shot out and instantly turned into thousands of arrows that bombarded the thousands of golden lights. The two Dao artifacts clashed. His aura was even more terrifying than that of a cultivator at the limit of the true martial realm. The moment the golden lights and the spirit arrow disappeared, the piercing cloud arrow pierced through the air and went straight for the bronze mirror. In an instant, endless flames appeared on the bronze mirror and tightly wrapped around it. When the piercing cloud arrow shot out, it happened to block it. On the other side, after Qiu Yushan revealed his demon race body, he directly charged towards Zhang Ergu. He revealed his demon race body. Although his strength was not as strong as a true martial realm expert who had condensed the universal heavenly lock, it was not too far off. On the other side, the other disciples of the Flying Crane sect had already retreated. With Bai Hongzhe as the leader and a group of physical invulnerability realm elders behind him, they worked together to deal with Qiu Yushan. If the Flying Crane sect had any scruples and was worried about the top power behind Qiu Yushan, then now he no longer had the slightest scruple. The demon race. Since ancient times, they had an unresolvable enmity with the human race. Even if they stood on the side of racial justice, there was no possibility of reconciliation between the two sides. Even if the Flying Crane sect killed this demon here today, they were not afraid of the power behind him seeking revenge. Because this was the Fallen Moon Manor. Even if the Fallen Moon Marquis had rebelled and the Fallen Moon Manor was no longer under the control of the Great Zhao Empire, it was still the Fallen Moon Manor of the human race. Just this point alone. They would not allow the demon race to behave atrociously. Bam! The astral chi shattered and Zhang Ergu's body retreated. Before Qiu Yushan's huge wolf claw could touch him, it was blocked by the others. A second later, Zhang Ergu's body, which had just retreated, exploded once again. Quintessential essence condensed in his palm and attacked the other party. Boom! The silver-white huge wolf retreated a few steps. Clearly, it was not easy for him to take Zhang Ergu's palm strike head-on. The other party had been chased for a long time. In terms of strength, in the true dominion, he was comparable to the peak true martial realm. The battle between the two sides continued. Although the power created was not vast, the commotion was not small either. Naturally, it attracted the attention of other cultivators. However, the Flying Crane sect was a true Dominion sect after all. Nobody dared to go near the battle that was taking place within their territory. The astral chi shattered. A Flying Crane sect elder could not dodge in time and took Qiu Yushan's attack directly. His entire body flew out. Under the terrifying explosion of power, he spat out mouthfuls of blood. He was already out of breath and did not look like he would survive. "Elder Gong!" Bai Hongzhe shouted angrily. However, this did not stop the attack. Instead, while the other party was seriously injuring an elder, his storage ring flashed and a spirit weapon long sword appeared in his hand. A second later, the long sword pierced through. Accompanied by a painful howl, a huge wound appeared on the right side of Qiu Yushan's abdomen. Dark green blood gushed out from the wound. "Elders, today, my Flying Crane sect shall slay this evil here!" Bai Hongzhe held the sword in one hand as killing intent rose from his body. Blood was still dripping from the long sword. As soon as he finished speaking, he disappeared from his original spot with a step. The long sword emitted waves of cold light. The strong physical body of the demon clan was completely useless in front of a middle-grade spirit weapon. "Kill!" Zhang Ergu was also filled with killing intent. When he attacked with his palm, a black palm aura shot out in the air. Then, it expanded to a size of several feet. The power that was strong enough to split stones made Qiu Yushan's eyelids twitch. In the face of such an attack, Qiu Yushan made the most reasonable response immediately. Chapter 375. Escape. In the face of the powerful strength of the Flying Crane sect and the pressure from Zhang Ergu, Qiu Yushan finally chose to retreat. Because he would die if he did not retreat. However, as he retreated, he held the copper mirror that had been shot down by the Cosmos Bow in his mouth and fled into the distance. "Sect Master Bai, please inform the various sects of the True Dominion to stop this demon from escaping." Zhang Erge had just finished his sentence when he chased after Qiu Yushan. Upon hearing that, Bai Hongzhe also understood Zhang Erge's intentions. He immediately asked the Flying Crane sect's elder to notify the various experts while he took the lead and followed closely behind Zhang Ergu. It had to be said, after recovering his demon clan true body, Qiu Yushan's speed was much faster than before. However, the cosmic bow kept attacking him from behind. Qiu Yushan had no choice but to reduce his speed in the face of such a Dao weapon. Then, he retreated while defending himself against the Dao weapon's attacks. "Wolf Cub, you had so much fun chasing Master Zhang. Why are you running away now?" Zhang Erge mocked him as he chased after him. Every dog had its day. Now, it was finally Master Zhang's turn to show his prowess. "Old Qian, shoot him. Shoot him to death. Today, I will take his wolf skin and make a jacket!" Zhang Erge shouted excitedly. The cosmic bow did not want to bother with Zhang Erge anymore. The spirit chi of heaven and earth gathered as the spirit arrow shot forward. Qiu Yushan stopped and took out the bronze mirror in his mouth to block the spirit arrow. Then, he escaped again with the bronze mirror in his mouth. However, this went on for a while. Gradually, the two of them caught up to him. Soon, Qiu Yushan stopped. Bai Hongzhe of the Flying Crane sect was in front of him, while Zhang Ergu of the Sky Origin sect was behind him. Beside him, a Dao weapon was eyeing him covetously. All of a sudden, Qiu Yushan felt a little pressured. As for the injury on his abdomen, it had healed significantly over time. However, due to his intense escape, it had not healed completely and blood was still dripping. "Let me go, or the moon-devouring wolf clan will flatten the fallen moon manor." He still did not give in. Hearing this, before Bai Hongzhe could reply, Zhang Erge sneered and said, "If any of your moon-devouring wolf clan dares to step foot into the territory of the human race, I guarantee that they won't be able to return alive." "You! So what if I am?" Zhang Erge sneered. Even if he lost, he didn't want to lose face. After all, he didn't have to pay for boasting. At this time, the most important thing was to put on a good show of face and not lose face in front of others. Bai Hunza said, Elder Zhang, why are you wasting your breath on this demon? Let's kill him now. The moon-devouring wolf clan won't have the guts to come to the fallen moon mansion. All right. The two of them looked at each other. In the next instant, a powerful attack burst out and surrounded Qiu Yushan. In the endless mountain range. Suddenly, an earth-shattering roar resounded through the world. How dare a human kill my son? You're courting death. Then they saw a giant wolf that was 1,000 feet tall rise into the sky from the endless mountain range. Many members of the moon-devouring wolf tribe were howling below, causing the other demon tribes to turn pale. What happened? Even Supremacy-devouring Moon was alerted. Tisk, could it be that a human killed Supremacy-devouring Moon's son? Looks like there's a good show to watch. In the endless mountain range, the demon tribe experts were chatting with each other with their divine thoughts. They looked at Supremacy-devouring Moon who was leaving in the air and smiled playfully. The demon clan was not a monolithic entity either. There were many conflicts between each of them. Now that there was a problem with the moon-devouring wolf clan, many demon tribes were waiting to watch the show. However, there were also some demon tribes who were cautious about this. Although the moon-devouring wolf clan was not a top clan, they were not weak either. Supremacy-devouring Moon was a heavenly human demon. It was rumored that his strength had reached the demon king level. With such strength, he was one of the top in the entire demon tribe. At this moment, he left the moon-devouring wolf clan's territory in anger, which would definitely cause a huge commotion. Perhaps they might even be implicated as well. On the other side, after killing Qiu Yushan, Zhang Ergu did not leave immediately. Instead, he stayed in the Flying Crane sect for a while. Although he killed the demon tribe, he did not gain much from the demon tribe's counterattack before he died. He also suffered serious injuries. Staying in the Flying Crane sect was considered a temporary recovery. However, during this period, Zhang Ergu went to the nearest city and found Yuan Zong's shop. Then, he directly sent back the information that happened here. Yuan Zong's influence was not small now. It was not only in the Beiyun mansion. Even in the other mansions outside the Beiyun mansion, there would be Yuan Zong's shops in almost every city. The purpose was to send back information in time to avoid too much delay. As for the method of communication, almost all of the messages were sent back through the communication jade talisman, one after another. This way, the security would be higher. The speed would also be faster. During this period, Qin Shujian did not go anywhere. He wandered around the city like a wanderer and rarely used his cultivation. Every day, he seemed to be able to have different insights. The compatibility between the spiritual deity and the physical body was getting higher and higher. He seemed to have a better understanding of the 9th level of the spiritual martial arts section of the Gui Yuan ancestral code. However, Qin Shujian did not deliberately break through. He was just like the cultivators in the legends. Every day, he only picked a wisp of eastern purple qi and mixed it into the mortal world, allowing it to hone his spiritual deity. However, this method was different from the real wandering in the mortal world. Now he could only be said to be standing on the edge of the mortal world and not really going deep into it. With his current realm, he had not reached the stage where he needed to really train his heart in the mortal world. On this day, Qin Shujian had just swallowed a wisp of eastern purple qi when the storage ring moved. Following his thought, Yi Zichen moved. A communication jade talisman fell into his hand. When his divine thought fell, the information in it was also transmitted to his mind. Demon tribe! Moon-devouring wolf tribe! Qin Shujian put down the communication jade talisman and whispered softly. He did not expect Zhang Ergu could still be attacked by the demon tribe in the fallen moon mansion. Compared to the fact that no demon tribe dared to step into the Beiyun mansion now, it was not strange that there were still demon tribes in the other manors. However, the people of the Yuan sect were chasing after him. Qin Shujian could not take this matter to heart. Fallen Moon Mansion. Qin Shujian's eyes flickered slightly as he thought to himself. Forget it. Since the spiritual deity and the physical body have merged, there is no need to continue staying here. In this case, I will go to the Fallen Moon Mansion. There was no other reason. He simply felt that this matter was not simple. Moreover, his own sect elder was attacked and injured. As the sect master, he could not really ignore it. As for Zhang Ergu, Qin Shujian still valued him. Apart from the other party's ability, as the first person he met in this world, he still had a good impression of him. Thinking of this, Qin Shujian got down from the bed and asked the waiter to bring him a basin of hot water. He simply washed up. However, just as the waiter was about to leave with the water, Qin Shujian suddenly called out to him. "What's your name?" "My name is Ningbo." The waiter, who was also Ningbo, turned around and answered, but there was a faint excitement on his face. After such a long time, this master finally asked for his name. With Ningbo's many years of experience in observing people, the other party must have noticed something. Perhaps the turning point of his life was at this moment. Even so. But he still remained calm. Ningbo did not like to lose his composure, and caused the opportunity to slip away. "Ningbo, not a bad name." Qin Shujian first repeated it, then nodded slightly. "Do you know who I am?" "This little one does not know." "You are very good." Qin Shujian smiled, the storage ring flashed, and a token appeared in his hand behind his back. He then casually threw it on the table. "I know very well what you are thinking in your heart. Since you want to change so much, I will give you this opportunity." While they were talking, Qin Shujian pointed to the token on the table and said, "Take this token and go to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain Yuan sect. You will get what you want. However, the journey to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain is long. Perhaps with your strength, you will not be able to reach it in your lifetime. You may even lose your life on the way. The specific choice is up to you." Finished. Qin Shujian took a step forward and disappeared from the room. "Master!" When Ningbo saw the scene in front of him, how could he not understand that he had met an expert in the cultivation world? When he looked at the token on the table not far away, he immediately put down the copper basin in his hand, walked up quickly, and took the token in his hand. In his hand, there was a heavy feeling. However, Ningbo did not care about this. All of his attention was on the token in his hand. On the copper token, there was an inscription. There were strange patterns engraved on it, and there were two words that he did not recognize. Ningbo's face was filled with excitement. The hand that was holding the token was tightly holding onto it, and the veins on his arm were popping out. "The cultivation world! I also have a chance to enter the cultivation world." After a short period of excitement, Ningbo quickly calmed down. He actually did not know where the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was. Because the Baiyun Mansion was too big, so big that many people might not even leave their own area in their lifetime. It was just as the other party had said. The journey to the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain was definitely long. With his identity as an ordinary person, it would definitely be difficult for him to reach it. Perhaps, if he encountered some bandits or beasts on the way, he would immediately lose his life. The token in his hand could be an opportunity, but it could also be a death sentence. How to choose? It all depended on Ningbo's own thoughts. He stood motionless in his original spot, his expression constantly changing. After a long time, Ningbo put the token into his pocket. He had already made his decision. Later, he would go to the shopkeeper to settle the payment. Then, he would find out the location of the Liang Mountain Spirit Domain and make preparations to go there. Compared to wasting his life, Ningbo was more willing to give it his all. Perhaps he was not a person who was content with his lot. Chapter 376. He had a good impression of Ningbo during this month. That was why Qin Shujian had left the command token behind. However, this was a fortuitous encounter for Yifutian, and it was also a final test for Yifutian. If Ningbo could really head to the Liang Mountain region, then he would give Yifutian a chance to step foot into the cultivation world. If Yifutian chose to give up, then it had nothing to do with him. As for dying midway, it showed that Yifutian didn't have enough luck and couldn't bear such a fortuitous encounter. How should he choose? It was entirely up to Ningbo. Qin Shujian had merely provided him with an opportunity. That was all. On the other side, Zhang Erge was eating and drinking well in the Flying Crane sect now. He was an elder of the Origin sect. It was destined that the Flying Crane sect didn't dare be negligent at all. Even the sect master, Bai Hongzhe, was polite to him. During this period of time, it was probably the most comfortable period of time Zhang Erge had spent besides the time in the sect. No, it should be even more comfortable than when he was in the sect. The only problem was, the spirit energy in the Flying Crane sect was too weak. Otherwise, everything would be perfect. Elder Zhang, are you used to living in the Flying Crane sect? Bai Hongzhe chuckled in a courtyard. The two of them sat opposite each other. There was a chessboard in the middle, and it showed that they were playing. Even though Zhang Erge hadn't come into contact with the Tao of chess before, with his cultivation realm, he only needed Bai Hongzhe to teach him a little and he would be able to grasp the basics. However, he was only at the basics. Seriously speaking, Zhang Erge was still a terrible chess player. If Bai Hongzhe hadn't given way to him, he would have lost countless times. The Flying Crane sect isn't bad. Thank you for your hospitality, Sect Master Bai. Haha, it's my Flying Crane sect's honor that Elder Zhang is able to stay here. You're treating me like an outsider. Bai Hongzhe smiled. Even though the person before him was only an outer court elder of the Origin sect, he found out that the person before him was a domain spirit god. If it was in terms of true strength, it was above him. Therefore, even though Zhang Erge was being chased by Qiu Yushan, Bai Hongzhe did not underestimate him. This was especially so for this elder of Yuan sect, who even had a Tao artifact with him. Evidently, he was highly regarded by the sect master of Yuan sect. As long as the other party was happy. In that case, the Flying Crane sect could be considered to have built a connection with Yuan Zone. Even though Falling Moon Prefecture sects wanted to seek refuge with Baiyun Prefecture's sections. It would be embarrassing if word got out. However, that also depended on which sect it was. The Sky Origin sect was a famous top-notch sect. Not only in the Baiyun Prefecture, but also in the cultivation world of the Great Zhao 13 prefectures. If the Flying Crane sect could be connected, not only would the other sects not mock them, but they would be even more jealous. He had to give them a chance. Maybe they would do something even more outrageous than the Flying Crane sect. The two of them chatted as they played chess. They said it was a game of chess. It was more accurate to say that Bai Hongzhe was giving in to Zhang Erge. Otherwise, the game would have ended long ago. It was also at this moment. An elder rushed in and said anxiously, "Sect Master, something big has happened." "What happened?" Bai Hongzhe frowned. Even Zhang Erge, who was about to place a chess piece on the board, paused for a moment and looked at the elder. "A heavenly human demon from the moon-devouring wolf clan has left the endless mountain range and destroyed 3 cities along the way. They have destroyed dozens of sects and are heading towards the Changning True Dominion. It is very likely that they are seeking revenge for that wolf demon. Their target is definitely the Flying Crane sect." "What?" Upon hearing that, Bai Hongzhe's expression changed immediately. He had not expected that at all. The moon-devouring wolf clan was really daring. They had attacked the Falling Moon Prefecture and destroyed sects along the way for a mere demon. This was completely unexpected. Bai Hongzhe was not the only one. Even Zhang Erge's expression changed drastically. This was not a simple matter. It involved a heavenly human demon. Such an existence. It was almost a walking disaster. "Sect Master, what should we do?" "Don't panic. The heavenly human demon has entered the Changning True Dominion. Those heavenly human demons will not sit still, Bai Hongzhe said in a deep voice after taking a deep breath. However, even though he said that, his heart was still trembling. A heavenly human demon! Many people would die if something went wrong. In the past, the experts of the Imperial Court and the Marquis of the Falling Moon Prefecture would definitely suppress any heavenly human demon that entered the Changning True Dominion. However, now, that might not be the case. At the moment, the Imperial Court and the Marquis of the Falling Moon Prefecture were in full swing. Almost all the experts from both sides had been deployed. There was no extra force to deal with a heavenly human demon. Moreover, even if both sides stopped fighting temporarily and turned to deal with the demons, they would still need time to get used to each other. If they did not make a move in time, the Flying Crane sect would be in trouble. However, Bai Hongzhe kept these things to himself. There was no need to say it out loud and cause too much panic. After calming himself down, he looked at the elder and asked in a deep voice, "Where is the heavenly human demon now? I'm afraid he will reach the Changning True Dominion soon." Arrange for some of the disciples to evacuate first. Although the possibility of the heavenly human demon coming is not high, we still have to be cautious and avoid too many accidents. What about you, Sect Master? As the Sect Master, how can I retreat at the last minute? I'll wait for him for a while. Bai Hongzhe snorted and said arrogantly. The elder sighed in admiration. I admire your decision, Sect Master. Let's cut the crap and go make the arrangements quickly. Yes. After the elder left, Bai Hongzhe looked at Zhang Ergu and asked, Elder Zhang, do you want to evacuate with the Flying Crane sect disciples? Since Sect Master Bai isn't leaving, how can I leave first? Ha. Elder Zhang is so bold. The two of them looked at each other and smiled. There was a tacit understanding between them. If the heavenly human demon really came, no one would stay there and wait for death. But now that the heavenly human demon had not arrived yet, if he were to flee at the first sign of trouble, that would be a bit embarrassing. It didn't matter if the disciples of the other sects evacuated. However, if Sect Master Bai Hongzhe fled, the Flying Crane sect would be disgraced. As for Zhang Ergu, he was not in a hurry at all. He still had a life-saving trump card in his hand. Even if the heavenly human demon came, he was confident that he could stop him. At least, there was no problem in fleeing. At that moment, a terrifying aura came from the sky. It was vast and mighty, as if a god had descended. As the terrifying might gushed out, it even caused the sky to change. A 1,000 feet tall wolf traveled in the sky like a mountain, turning everything in its path into ruins. How dare the human kill my son? I'll bury all of you today. Supremacy devouring moon's angry roar reverberated in the sky above the eternal peace true dominion. Everyone's expression changed. His body, which had originally been 10,000 feet tall, was now only about 1,000 feet tall due to the shackles of the true dominion. However, he still gave off a strong visual impact. His terrifying strength made all the cultivators' expressions change. As for the Flying Crane sect, Bai Hongzhe and Zhang Ergu's faces were as black as ink. A heavenly human demon! He had come too quickly. He had arrived at the eternal peace true dominion so quickly. His speed had exceeded their imagination. Furthermore, they could sense that this brutal aura was rapidly approaching. They could be sure. This heavenly human demon was definitely coming for the Flying Crane sect. After a short silence, Bai Hongzhe roared furiously. All Flying Crane sect disciples, evacuate from the eternal peace true dominion. Upon saying that, he looked at Zhang Ergu and said solemnly, Elder Zhang, are you willing to help the Flying Crane sect? This request, Bai Hongzhe was not sure if Zhang Ergu would agree. Even if he did, he might exhaust this favor. However, for him, he had to fight for enough time for the Flying Crane sect disciples to evacuate. Or else, if the Flying Crane sect's legacy was cut off, he would be ashamed to face the ancestors of the Flying Crane sect even if he died. Since Sect Master Bai has spoken, How can I refuse? Thank you. Bai Hongzhe expressed his gratitude in a very solemn manner. Immediately, the two of them left the flying crane sect and rushed towards the source of the aura. Finally, they stopped at the place where Qiu Yushan was killed. At this moment, that brutal and terrifying aura was already close at hand. Its body was 1,000 feet tall like a mountain. Even if it was a few hundred miles away, it could still be seen clearly. Bai Hongzhe was speechless when he saw that huge body. That was a powerful demon. If its body was a little bigger, it would be taller than the flying crane sect's mountain gate. As for Qiu Yushan's original monster race true body, compared to this, it was simply a small child in the presence of a great one. How could they fight it? A single strand of hair from its body could probably crush many people to death. Zhang Erge calmed down a little. After seeing the huge body of the sky-reaching ape, he was not too surprised when he saw Supremacy Devouring Moon's 1,000 feet tall body. He only saw him holding the cosmic bow. Then, he drew the bow and knocked an arrow. The moment the bowstring was pulled, the spiritual chi of heaven and earth gathered toward the longbow and attached to the cloud-piercing arrow. One end of the arrow was already aimed at the 1,000 feet tall wolf. Or rather, he did not need to aim. After all, the 1,000 feet tall wolf was there. As long as he was not blind, he could shoot it. When the bowstring was pulled to a full moon, Zhang Erge loosened his fingers. The moment the cloud-piercing arrow flew out, the vital essence in his dantian was completely consumed. The arrow flew out. Like a shooting star, it flew straight towards Supremacy Devouring Moon. Doctrine Artifact! Supremacy Devouring Moon's huge eyes were indifferent. He did not move at all. He simply contracted his abdomen and then opened his mouth. A hurricane of energy swept across the world. The next moment, it collided with the cloud-piercing arrow. The hurricane swept out, changing the color of the world. Layers of wind superimposed, forming a terrifying attack and an unbreakable defense. The cloud-piercing arrow only pierced through 2/3 of the hurricane before its power was completely exhausted. In the end, it was blasted away by the terrifying force. Before it even landed, the arrow seemed to have been summoned. It forcibly reversed its direction and flew back. In the blink of an eye, it had fallen into Zhang Erge's hands. Chapter 377. Terrifying. That was the only thought in their minds. Especially Zhang Erge. He knew the power of the cosmic bow and the cloud-piercing arrow better than Bai Hongzhe. The combination of the two, their strength was comparable to a 3-sealed Dao weapon. Even though the Dao weapon's strength would be weakened under the true Dominion's shackles, its power could not be underestimated. However, now, it could not harm Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. It should not be said that it could not harm him. It could not even get close to him. Seeing this, Zhang Erge did not dare hesitate. His storage ring flashed, and a spirit stone appeared in his hand. If he had used it to deal with Qiu Yushan previously, it would have been a waste. Now, he would use it to deal with Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. It was just right. The remaining quintessential essence gathered in his hand. Zhang Erge's spiritual force moved and the spirit stone in his hand was thrown out like a cannonball. Then, innumerable array patterns spread out from the spirit stone and formed a huge array in an instant, engulfing Supremacy Devouring Moon Dash. Buzz! The void trembled. In Bai Hongzhe's line of sight, Venerable Devouring Moon's figure disappeared the moment the formation pattern engulfed him. This is an array formation! Unlike the North Cloud Prefecture, where the array Dao had declined, the Fallen Moon Prefecture was not a place where the array Dao prevailed. Just like the Changning True Dominion, there were also some sects that focused on array formations. Bai Hongzhe could see some clues about the array formation when Zhang Erge had used the Spirit Stone. However, everyone was an array formation. He had never seen an array formation engulfing a heavenly human demon like this. After all, even in the Fallen Moon Mansion, a formation Grandmaster was extremely rare. Upon seeing Bai Hongzhe's shocked expression, Zhang Erge smiled proudly and said, This array formation was personally created by my sect master. It is enough to trap a heavenly human demon. As long as this array formation exists, it will not be easy to get rid of it, even if it does not kill it. So it was created by sect master Qin. No wonder. Bai Hongzhe was enlightened. Qin Shu was a famous sword array grandmaster. In the cultivation world of the 13 constabularies, anyone with a bit of knowledge would have heard of him. As for now, in the Chang Ningtru Dominion, the other sects that were preparing to flee were also stunned when they saw supremacy-devouring moon suddenly disappear. They did not understand what had happened. Could it be that Marquis Moonfall took action and subdued the celestial human demon? Impossible. Even if Marquis Moonfall had taken action, how could there be no movement at all? Could it be that the celestial great monster has left? However, all the cultivators who noticed the disappearance of Reverend Moon Devourer's aura and got closer looked at each other. There was a sudden change in the situation. The completion was beyond their expectations. However, there were also some knowledgeable array masters who vaguely guessed some things the moment they saw the formation patterns appear. Supremacy Devouring Moon didn't disappear. It was just that it was blocked by the formation. But when he thought of this, those array masters were shocked once again. To be able to block a celestial human fae, what level of array formation did it have to be? At least, it had to be done by an array Dao Grandmaster. Could Grandmaster Fan of the Heavenly Array sect have taken action? It must be. Apart from Grandmaster Fang, who else in the Fallen Moon Mansion has such means? It was also at this moment. Boom, the void shook violently, and thousands of formation patterns appeared, emitting a dazzling light. There was a sudden change. It made Bai Hongzhe's heart skip a beat. He asked, Elder Zhang, what's the problem? It should be that great demon attacking the formation. Zhang Ergu was surprised, but he still forced himself to calm down and said, Sect Master once said that this formation will definitely have no problem trapping the celestial human demon. Although he's attacking the formation now, it's impossible for him to break the formation before the spirit chi of the spirit stones is exhausted. That's good. Bai Hongzhe heaved a sigh of relief. He did not ask for a long time. As long as he could delay for another day and a half, it would be enough for the people of the Flying Crane sect to evacuate. As for other things, Bai Hongzhe did not think too much about it now. However, not many people of the Flying Crane sect had evacuated yet, so he could not leave just like that. At least, as the sect master, he had to be the one bringing up the rear. Boom! At this moment, the formation patterns that were shining brightly suddenly shattered. A giant wolf that was 1,000 feet tall stepped on the void and howled furiously at the sky. The sound waves rolled in all directions, causing the clouds within 1,000 miles to disperse, and the blazing sun to shine on the ground. Seeing this, Bai Hongzhe and Zhang Ergu looked at each other speechlessly. At this moment, Zhang Ergu did not know how to explain. If he remembered correctly, when Qin Shujian handed the spirit stones to him, he did say that the formation inside was enough to intercept a celestial human powerhouse. However, the other party did not tell him. The so-called interception. It took less than the time to brew a cup of tea. Zhang Ergu's face turned green. If he had known that the siege would be so short, he would definitely not have stood there calmly and pretended to be cool. He would have turned around and run long ago. But now, seeing that the huge eyes of Supremacy Devouring Moon were staring at him, Zhang Ergu knew that he might be finished. It's you two human ants who killed my son! Hearing this, Bai Hongzhe and Zhang Ergu finally understood why the other party dared to directly barge into the Fallen Moon Mansion and start a massacre regardless of the danger. Qiu Yushan, whose feelings were killed. He was actually the son of a celestial human demon. Today, all of you will die. Supremacy Devouring Moon was filled with murderous intent. The ant-like humans in his eyes were the culprits who killed his only son. The Chaoyang Divine Mirror had already sent back all the information. It was the aura that belonged to the murderer. Supremacy Devouring Moon would never forget it. It was not easy for the moon-devouring wolf clan to have children, especially the higher the realm, the harder it was to have children. For thousands of years, supremacy-devouring moon only had one descendant, Qiu Yushan. It could be said that he had poured in blood, sweat, and tears to cultivate him so that he could reach the god martial arts realm in just a few hundred years. In fact, he had already been internally determined to be the next king of the moon-devouring wolf clan. However, now, everything was ruined. Qiu Yushan was dead. This meant that supremacy-devouring moon's lineage was completely cut off. With his current realm, it was undoubtedly a fantasy for him to give birth to another child. This hatred was enough to end his lineage. Supremacy-devouring moon had been completely blinded. If he did not kill all the murderers, he would not be able to take this lying down. Today, not only will all of you die, but I will also bury the entire human clan of the Changning True Dominion with you. Supremacy-devouring moon's loud voice spread in all directions as he roared. Everyone who heard this, their expressions changed drastically. Clouds and clouds gathered in the sky as a massive amount of heaven and earth spirit energy surged over. Supremacy-devouring moon suddenly opened his mouth and let out a deafening roar. Roar! The roar shook the earth and the mountains. The terrifying sound waves transformed into a hurricane that suddenly erupted and engulfed by Hungza and Zhang Ergu below. That terrifying power! Even a cultivator's protective aura would be easily torn to shreds by this attack. Qiu Yushan's strength was powerful enough. However, compared to supremacy-devouring moon, the difference was like heaven and earth. The first thought that came to their minds was to retreat. However, supremacy-devouring moon's attack covered a wide area and did not give them a chance to retreat at all. Zhang Ergu did not have to do anything. The cosmic bow also absorbed a large amount of heaven and earth spirit energy and shot it out as a spirit arrow. Thousands of cold gleams collided with the hurricane. However, the spirit arrow was only blocked for a short moment before it was shattered by the powerful force. Boom! Monstrous waves rose up from the ground, and with an overwhelming momentum, they collided with the hurricane. The terrifying force spread out and caused by Hungza and Zhang Ergu to retreat. It was a sudden turn of events. While Bai Hungza was shocked, he was also at a loss. Only Zhang Ergu's eyes lit up when he saw that attack. He said in joy, "Great Desolation Devil Suppressing Seal, Sect Master is here! Great Wilderness Devil Suppression Seal." It was available on the 4th floor of the library. All of the elders had studied this martial art before. However, this martial technique was too mysterious and there were not many people who truly cultivated it. As for the terrifying peak level of cultivation, only one person in the entire Yuan sect could do that. Upon hearing that, Bai Hungza was shocked as well. Sect Master! The Yuan sect master! Thinking of this, he immediately looked in front of him. At the moment, the two attacks erupted with a strong wave. Under the impact of the huge force, the void was slightly distorted and blocked one's vision. After everything calmed down, he saw a person flying in the air with his hands behind his back and looking at supremacy-devouring moon from afar. Heavenly human demon? Looking at supremacy-devouring moon in front of him, Qin Shujian looked solemn. Since supremacy-devouring moon stepped into the Changning True Dominion, he had already arrived. However, he did not appear immediately. He did not show himself immediately. Instead, he wanted to see if the fallen moon manor would send any experts to stop him. Until later, Zhang Ergu used all the trump cards he had given him, but he could not hold on for more than 10 minutes. Regarding this, Qin Shujian was also shocked. He was well aware of the power of the array formation he had inscribed. In the spirit realm, the formation just now could stop experts like Lord Six Desires for at least a few hours. However, in front of the great demon in front of him, it was not even enough for 10 minutes. The opponent's strength was definitely far more terrifying than Lord Six Desires. Great demon! And a demon king! Since the demon clan stopped hiding from the world, Qin Shujian began to collect some information about the demon clan. Demon experts who had just entered the heavenly human realm could be called great demons. Demons above the 4th level of the heavenly human realm could be called demon kings. As for those above the 7th level of the heavenly human realm, they were called demon sages. As for demon emperors, Qin Shujian, on the other hand, had no idea what kind of realm he was in. Just like human emperors. For the human clan, the realm of human emperors was also a mystery. Therefore, when the formation was broken and Zhang Ergu was about to die, he had to come out of the dark. Looking at supremacy devouring moon in front of him, Qin Shujian had already used the ability of the spiritual eye. Chapter 378. Name, Moon-Devouring Demon King. Title, Identity, Faction Level, Realm. When he saw the name column, Qin Shujian's pupils constricted slightly. Moon-Devouring Demon King. He was indeed a Demon King level expert. As for the last bit of doubt in his heart, when he saw the other party's attributes, he understood. Demon King level expert. He was above the 4th level heavenly human and below the 7th level. However, Qin Shujian was not sure. Was the moon-devouring demon king at the peak of the demon king level? Who are you? How dare you stop me? The moon-devouring demon king said coldly. Based on his experience, it was not difficult to see that Qin Shujian's strength had not reached the heavenly human level. Qin Shujian put his hands behind his back and looked at the moon-devouring demon king. He said faintly, Yuanzong, Qin Shujian. Yuanzong. The moon-devouring demon king's eyes flickered. Yuanzong, Qin Shujian. He was familiar with this name. After all, this person had killed one of the 12 Netherworld envoys. This alone was enough to make him famous in the demon clan. Not to mention, he was also an array grandmaster. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not have much fear. In his opinion, a first-level grandmaster cultivator was only comparable to a heavenly human demon. How could he resist a demon king? Therefore, when Qin Shujian spoke, the moon-devouring demon king sneered and said, How dare a mere array grandmaster try to stop me? Fine, I'll kill you here today to do the heavenly eagle clan a favor. Let's give it a try then. Qin Shujian's lips curled into a cold smile. If they were in the spirit protectorate, he would definitely run as far as he could if he saw the moon-devouring demon king. Even though he was an array grandmaster, he would also run away. After all, his strength could deal with an ordinary heavenly human demon. However, the difference in strength between him and a demon king was too great. However, things were different now. In the true dominion, even a demon king's strength would be suppressed. In terms of strength, he should be similar to Tianai Evil Lord. Although the evil fiend sealed by the 9 astral light array was not as strong as a demon god, it was definitely a top evil fiend. Fiend celestials were existences at the 7th level of the Deva human realm and above, comparable to face sages. As for the top evil demons, he was probably even stronger than the average demon king. Since he could even suppress the sky fiend Lord Qin Shujian, the moon-devouring fiend king before him was naturally nothing in his eyes. So much so that Qin Shujian already had plans to kill the moon-devouring demon king. If I can devour a demon king, I'm afraid the source of life will be very rich. After all, a half-step celestial being from the black abyss had provided him with 1,000,000 life points. If he swallowed a demon king, then it might even provide tens of millions of life sources. Thinking of this, he looked at the moon-devouring beast king with a burning gaze. 10 million life sources. This was not a small number. I'll devour you today and then destroy the Changning True Dominion. The moon-devouring demon king felt that his dignity as a demon king had been trampled upon. How dare a human who was not even a celestial being be so arrogant in front of him? Boom! A moment later, the moon-devouring demon king roared furiously as sound waves rolled out. A terrifying force tore through everything in an instant. Everywhere it passed, the space vibrated and rippled. Qin Shujian stood motionless on the spot. 4 universal sky locks pierced the void as his strength was raised to the limit of the true dominion. Then, he struck out with the great desolate fiend's suppression seal. The terrifying power collided with the power of the sound wave with an earth-shattering momentum. Boom! A terrifying sound reverberated throughout the entire Changning True Dominion as a vast remnant wave spread out. The clouds within thousands of miles dissipated completely. Only the 4 universal sky locks pierced the void. Instantly, everyone was speechless. Universal sky lock. Not everyone had seen it before, and not everyone had heard of it. However, only cultivators who knew about the existence of the universal sky lock would understand what the 4 sky locks that pierced the void represented. They represented invincibility. True invincibility. In the true dominion, even a celestial being would find it difficult to contend against them. Universal sky lock! The moon-devouring demon king was also staring in shock at the 4 sky locks that pierced the void. Based on his shallow understanding of Qin Shujian, he only knew that Qin Shujian was an array Dao grandmaster. As for condensing the 4 universal sky locks, his strength was enough to break the shackles of the true dominion. The moon-devouring demon king had no idea. After all, in the eyes of a demon king, apart from celestial being realm experts, the rest of the cultivators and demons were not worthy of his attention. Even ordinary celestial being realm cultivators, the moon-devouring demon king might not remember much. The reason he could remember Qin Shujian's name was because Qin Shujian had killed one of the 12 netherworld envoys and was wanted by the heavenly demon guards. In an instant, the moon-devouring demon king had an impulse to turn around and retreat. He knew very well that the 4 universal sky locks represented something in the true dominion. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not retreat easily because of his son's death and the dignity of the moon-devouring demon king. However, the moon-devouring demon king did not act rashly either. His 1,000-foot body transformed into a middle-aged man. He looked at Qin Shujian with his hands behind his back and said in a low voice, "I'm only here to avenge the death of my son." Even when Qiu Yushan died, the bronze mirror still escaped through the void. It did not give the cosmic bow a chance to display its might at all. Now, in Qin Shujian's hands, it had shot down the other party. This made the cosmos bow feel proud and elated. One word. Awesome! On the other side. After Qin Shujian shot down the morning sun divine mirror, he let go of the cosmic bow. He took a step forward and the weather changed. He used the great desolate devil suppressing seal again to suppress the moon-devouring demon king. Roar! The moon-devouring demon king no longer maintained his human form. He regained his 1,000-foot body. A giant wolf that was no smaller than a mountain roared in the air. Its claws, which were like huge millstones, were wrapped in a frightening amount of true essence. It directly bombarded the mountain phantom that was suppressing it. The mountain range collapsed. The giant claw's momentum didn't stop as it continued to attack Qin Shujian. He took a step forward. His body disappeared from its original spot. In an instant, Qin Shujian had already passed through the attack of the huge claws and approached the moon-devouring demon king. He lifted his hand and used the great desolate devil suppressing seal again. A huge body condensed in the sky. A palm that was hundreds of feet in size landed with a loud bang. Boom! Boom! At this moment, in the sky above the Changning True Dominion, a human and a demon were engaged in an intense battle. Every collision set off a boundless gale that spread out in all directions. All the cultivators in the True Dominion were extremely powerful. When they felt the terrifying aftershock, their minds were shaken as they looked at everything in the void in horror. One had to know. In a true dominion, not only true martial realm cultivators, but even spirit martial realm and god martial realm cultivators would also come to the ordinary realm. But at this moment, it didn't matter if it was Jinwu or Shinwu. In the face of such an attack, they all felt their own weakness. Rumble, lightning gathered in the sky. As the man and the demon exchanged blows, the entire True Dominion sky started to tremble faintly, as though it would shatter at any moment. Less than an hour had passed since the start of the fight. The moon-devouring Demon King was at a disadvantage. Even a heavenly human Demon King would find it difficult to fight against a force that could break the shackles of the True Dominion. If it wasn't for the fact that his physical body had been refined to a level comparable to a Tao artifact, he wouldn't have been able to do so. Right now, he was probably heavily injured. But even so, every time they collided, the moon-devouring Demon King's blood would surge. In the end, when he forcefully withstood a devil-suppressing seal, he finally gave up on the idea of fighting. He made a feint and turned around to escape. Chapter 379. His son's death? His dignity as a Demon King? These were not the most important things to the moon-devouring Demon King. From his point of view, as long as he returned to the endless mountain range, he would still be the king of the moon-devouring wolf clan. As for the fact that he had been forced to flee by a human who was not even a heavenly being, it would not have much of an impact, even though he would lose some face if word of this got out. After all, the moon-devouring Demon King was a Demon King-level expert after all. Which demon was this? How dare they gossip in front of him? However, the moon-devouring Demon King wanted to leave, but Qin Shujian did not intend to let him leave so easily. This was at least 10 million life sources. How many evil demons would he have to kill? How many demon beasts would he have to kill? In the end, he would be able to gather 10 million life sources. Not to mention, 10 million life sources was an understatement. If he thought about it more broadly, tens of millions of life sources were not impossible. How could Qin Shujian let such a fat wolf go? If he left the True Dominion, he did not know when he would have the chance to personally kill a Demon King. Therefore, just as the moon-devouring Demon King was about to escape, he took a step into the sky and waved his hand. The 9-sided array disk flew out of his storage ring and transformed into a huge array that engulfed the moon-devouring Demon King. In an instant, the moon-devouring Demon King's figure disappeared from everyone's sight. The huge array was set up. Qin Shujian did not intend to rely on an array formation to deal with the moon-devouring Demon King. In the True Dominion, his array Tao cultivation level was not as useful as his own strength. He rubbed his knuckles. Qin Shujian took a step forward and entered the array formation. Inside the array formation, the moon-devouring Demon King was attacking the huge array. The 9-sided array disk was vibrating violently, as if it could not withstand the impact of the force. After all, the 9-sided array disk was only an inferior-grade spirit weapon. The array engravings on it had been personally left behind by Qin Shujian. However, it was not a problem for the array to deal with a heavenly being or a Demon King. At that moment, Qin Shujian also entered the array. The moon-devouring Demon King's attack slowed down slightly. He looked at the other party coldly and said, "Do you want to use such a formation to keep me here? A first-realm Grandmaster can't deal with a greater Demon King. I don't need to deal with you. I just need to stop you." Qin Shujian smiled, but his smile was full of coldness. "Speaking of which, I, Qin, have never killed a true Monster King before. Perhaps I'll be able to taste it today. Human, you're indeed powerful after condensing for universal heavenly lock. However, don't think that you can run amok in the world with just this kind of strength. Aren't you a little ignorant of the immensity of heaven and earth? It's not enough to run amok in the world, but it should be more than enough to kill you. I'm enough." Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Shujian launched a fierce attack on the moon-devouring Demon King. It was as if a huge dragon had risen from his back. Every move he made was filled with terrifying power. On the other side, the moon-devouring Demon King's ferocious nature was completely unleashed. The formation was obstructing him. With Qin Shujian's threat in front of him, he had no chance of breaking the formation at all. Under such circumstances, He would only have a chance to get out of this predicament if he really fought with the other party. As the two of them exchanged blows, the powerful aftershock spread out. Even the formation could not completely block it. In the sky, the dense sound of thunder exploded. It was as if it had directly bombarded the hearts of all the cultivators. Under the cover of the formation, they could not see the situation inside clearly. However, with the power of the formation, as well as the mighty fluctuation, these people could also tell that the two of them were currently fighting. Your sect master is really, really powerful. After thinking for a long time, Bai Hongzhe could not think of any words to describe Qin Shujian. In the end, he forced out a sentence that was neither fish nor fowl from his mouth. He was not blind. The moon-devouring demon king was about to leave earlier, but he was forcefully stopped by the other party. How powerful was Qin Shujian? Bai Hongzhe knew a little about it. The other party did not even seem to have reached the god martial arts realm. He was just a vision divine realm cultivator. However, even so, he still dared to stop a heavenly human demon king. This made him feel a little breathless. However, Qin Shujian's strength really shocked Bai Hongzhe. He had only heard about the rumors of condensing for universal heavenly locks. He had never seen it with his own eyes. Now that he saw it with his own eyes, he finally understood how terrifying it was to be able to reach this step. Even a heavenly human demon king was unwilling to fight with him. Of course, Bai Hongzhe still did not know that the moon-devouring demon king was a demon king-level expert. Otherwise, he would be even more shocked. Thinking of this, he suddenly realized that the Flying Crane sect did not seem to need to retreat. Although the battle was now covered by the formation and he did not know the exact situation. However, since Qin Shujian dared to stop the moon-devouring demon king, he basically showed that he was confident enough. Under such circumstances, the moon-devouring demon king was likely to be defeated. Thinking of this, Bai Hongzhe immediately took out the communication jade token and sent back the message of temporarily stopping the retreat. Retreating was not just for show. If they really retreated, it would require a lot of manpower and resources. Therefore, it was best not to move if he could. After sending the message, Bai Hongzhe did not leave. Instead, he stayed where he was and waited quietly for the battle to end. As for the other cultivators of the Changning True Dominion, they now understood who the person who attacked was. After all, in the cultivation world, there was only one person who could condense 4 universal heavenly locks in 1,000 years. However, what they did not expect was that. Why did Qin Shujian come to the Fallen Moon Mansion? Soon, some people thought of the formation that stopped the moon-devouring demon king in the beginning. They originally thought that the person who attacked was the Array Dao Grand Master of the Heavenly Array sect. However, it seemed that the person who attacked was Sect Master Qin. Boom! Boom! Time passed slowly. The battle did not stop for even a moment. The terrifying aftershocks continued to spread and directly caused the sun and moon to dim. The sky was covered by dark clouds and thunder lingered. This was a phenomenon that would only appear when someone used a power that was at its limit. Once it exceeded its limit, that would be the arrival of the heavenly wrath. However, both Qin Shujian and the moon-devouring demon king had only used their current maximum strength. They had not forcefully broken through the shackles of the true dominion. Or else, when the heavenly wrath descended, regardless of whether one was an expert with 4 universal heavenly locks or a heavenly human demon king, they would all turn into ashes. An unknown amount of time passed. Boom! There was a deafening sound. The array disk hidden in the void in 9 directions shattered. After the scattered array patterns bloomed, they disappeared before everyone's eyes. Soon after, a body that was 1,000 feet tall flew out horizontally and landed heavily on a mountain peak. In an instant, the mountain peak broke and the ground shook. Dust and smoke rose and filled one's vision. However, everyone could clearly see that the body that had flown out was the moon-devouring demon king. He had been defeated. The moon-devouring demon king had been defeated? For a moment, this thought appeared in the minds of many people. On the other side, the moon-devouring demon king kept coughing out blood. His snow-white fur was stained with blood and dust. He looked battered and exhausted. He was facing Qin Shujian, who had condensed 4 universal heavenly locks. As a demon king who had been suppressed by the shackles, he could only suffer defeat. He looked at Qin Shujian, who was flying toward him. The moon-devouring demon king did not dare hesitate. He immediately tried to escape. Up until now, he was well aware of Qin Shujian's strength. He was definitely no match for him. Unless he could meet him in the Spirit Protectorate or the Great Dominion, he might not have the chance to take revenge. Chapter 380. The moon-devouring demon king was severely injured. The rest was much simpler. The moon-devouring demon king was no match for Qin Shujian to begin with, much less now. The moon-devouring demon king roared in disbelief. The wisdom king Hellfire ignited and completely devoured him. Top evil demons could refine it. Demon kings at the heaven realm could also be refined. Except for fiend celestials and demon saints above the 7th level of the heaven realm, Qin Shujian had not found anything that the wisdom king Hellfire could not refine. In the end, the moon-devouring demon king let out an indignant roar before he was completely refined by the wisdom king Hellfire. A purplish-red fire lotus. It floated quietly in the air. A purplish-red fire lotus! A strange look appeared in Qin Shujian's eyes. In the past, the fire lotuses of the evil demons and demons were red or dark red in color. This was the first time he had seen such a purplish-red fire lotus. Perhaps after refining the demon king, the level of the fire lotus has increased. He did not know what was going on, so he could only make a guess. Subsequently, with a wave of his hand, the purple-red fire lotus floated into his hand. Boom! A massive amount of pure energy instantly surged out of the purplish-red fire lotus. Immediately after, the spiritual deity of 490 feet broke through to 500 feet almost effortlessly. Moreover, the speed of improvement did not slow down at all. 510 feet, 550 feet, 530 feet, 590 feet, 600 feet, 610 feet. When the spiritual deity broke through to 670 feet, the pure energy was completely exhausted. As for the spiritual deity that had skyrocketed, it directly broke the compatibility with the body. For a moment, Qin Shujian even felt that the spiritual deity was about to break free from the shackles of the body at any time, and it was difficult to completely control. Without any hesitation, he immediately focused his attention on the source of life. Before devouring the purplish-red fire lotus, the source of life was more than 30 million points. Now, it had become more than 160 million points. In other words, after devouring the purplish-red fire lotus, it provided him with 130 million points of life. Seeing this, Qin Shujian did not care about being shocked. With a thought, 150 million life sources were consumed. The Guyuan ancestral scripture had increased from the 8th level of the spiritual martial technique to the 10th level. In an instant. Moreover, some kind of secret chamber had been opened in his body. Therefore, the capacity of his body had become even greater. Moreover, his connection with the Spirit God had also become closer. Therefore, the Spirit God that was about to leave his body had become a lot more stable for the time being. There were even rumors that the sect leader had gone to fight against the heaven-human realm demon king. Regarding this, it was impossible for the Flying Crane sect not to be worried at all. Now that they saw Bai Hong's return, they were truly relieved. An elder of the Flying Crane sect stepped forward and saw Qin Shujian and Zhang Ergu at the side. Then, he looked at his sect leader and asked, Sect leader, how is the heaven-human realm demon king? The moon-devouring demon king has been killed by sect leader Qin of the origin sect. There's no need to worry about this anymore. While they were talking, Bai Hongzhe pointed at Qin Shujian beside him and said, "This is sect leader Qin of the origin sect." Origin sect? Sect leader Qin. Several elders of the Flying Crane sect who heard Bai Hongzhe's words looked at Qin Shujian with a completely changed expression. In fact, they had already caught the words that Bai Hongzhe mentioned earlier. Demon King! Moon-devouring Demon King! At this moment, the news of a heaven-human realm demon king killing his way out of the Skyan mountain range, destroying cities and sects along the way, and finally being killed by the sect leader of the origin sect of the Baiyun Mansion, Qin Shujian, in the Changning True Dominion had already spread like the wind. When this news spread, it instantly caused a huge commotion in the entire Fallen Moon Mansion. The death of a heaven-human realm demon king. The impact of this was no different from the death of a heaven-human realm major cultivator. As for Qin Shujian's reputation, once again, the news spread like wildfire. Originally, he had been famous because of his strength as an Array Dao Grandmaster. To a certain extent, he was comparable to a heaven-human realm major cultivator. Therefore, he had become famous in the cultivation world. However, it was different now. He had not relied on his Array Dao cultivation. He had relied on his own strength to kill a heaven-human realm demon king. Such a difference, naturally, it was shocking. It was said that in the True Dominion, heaven-human realm experts would be restricted by shackles. However, their strength was definitely not ordinary. In addition, even if a heaven-human realm expert could not unleash his strength perfectly, he would still possess various magical techniques. A true martial realm cultivator would not be able to contend against him. However, now, the moon-devouring demon king had been killed. This was the first time the other cultivators finally understood how powerful a cultivator who had condensed 4 universal sky locks was in the True Dominion. Just as the news was spreading like wildfire, Lu Xian suddenly changed his mind. Another piece of news was spreading. That was, the moon-devouring demon king was not a heaven-human realm demon king. He was a demon king expert, and the king of the moon-devouring wolf clan. After this piece of news spread, this caused the cultivation world, which was not peaceful to begin with, to tremble violently once again. If the death of a great demon was still acceptable, then, the death of a demon king, they had not expected this at all. One could only be called a demon king if one was at the 4th stage heaven-human realm, or above. An expert like this, whether it was in the human clan or the demon clan, they were all well-known existences. Every increase or decrease of an expert above the 4th level of the celestial being realm could cause quite a stir. Now, a demon king had died at the hands of Qin Shujian. Instantly, the strength of condensing 4 universal sky locks had once again increased to an unimaginable level. In fact, some people guessed, perhaps in the True Dominion, a cultivator who had condensed 4 universal sky locks was already comparable to a mighty demon saint. The moon-devouring demon king! In a prefecture city, a handsome and resolute man muttered softly as he crushed the information in his hands. Below him, there were a few civil officials and military generals. One of them, who was dressed like a scholar, cupped his hands and said, "Marquis, now that the moon-devouring demon king has died in the Fallen Moon Prefecture, the demon clan may not let this matter rest. We cannot sit and wait for death. Oh, in your opinion, what should I do? The Fallen Moon Prefecture is currently at war with the Great Zhao Nation. If the demon clan attacks, we will inevitably be attacked from both sides. This will be disadvantageous to our army." As the scholar spoke, he thought for a moment, then cupped his hands and said, "In my opinion, we can think of a way to lure Qin Shujian into the spirit domain, or the heavy rain. Then, we can capture him and send him to the demon clan in one fell swoop. This will appease the demon clan and resolve the crisis of the Fallen Moon Prefecture." "You mean that I should apologize to the demon clan?" Marquis Luo Yu's expression was normal as he said indifferently. That scholar looked terrified and hurriedly explained. I don't mean that. It's just that Qin Shujian happened to come to the Fallen Moon Prefecture to kill the moon-devouring demon king. He might have been instructed by the great Zhao nation to deliberately bring trouble to us. You should know that Qin Shujian was ordered by the great Zhao nation to go to the Thousand Mountains Prefecture to deal with Gu Changqing. There must be an unknown connection between the Yuan sect and the great Zhao nation. If we don't do this, the demon clan and the imperial court will attack us from both sides. Things will not be good. The scholar's voice reverberated throughout the main hall. His words were very touching, making everyone understand that he was wholeheartedly thinking for the Fallen Moon Manor. Hearing this, Marquis Luo Yu looked at the others and asked indifferently, In your opinion, what should we do? With that, the main hall was silent for a moment. Seeing this, Marquis Luo Yu did not ask any more questions. Instead, he stood up and walked slowly out of the main hall. The moon-devouring demon king entered the Fallen Moon Prefecture for less than half a day and destroyed 3 cities. He devoured nearly 200,000 people and destroyed 37 sections. Nearly 100,000 cultivators died. Chapter 381. Do you know about this? Marquis Luo Yu turned around and asked the scholar. The scholar was speechless. Finally, he said reluctantly, Marquis, those who achieve great things do not bother about trifles. It is normal to make some sacrifices. The reason why the human clan has been able to rule the world for thousands of years and drive the demon clan into the endless mountain range is that they have never yielded to the alien races. Marquis Luo Yu's eyes turned cold. If the demon clan can kill, so can the human clan. The more the demon clan kills, the more the human clan kills. Only by killing the demon race until they are scared will these beasts understand who is the real master of this world. Furthermore, Xiao Chunfeng can enter the endless mountain range and kill a heavenly human demon to intimidate the demon clan. If the Luo Yu Manor apologizes to the demon clan, we will become a laughing stock. Marquis Luo Yu laughed coldly. Do you think I am inferior to Xiao Chunfeng? I wouldn't dare. Humph! Marquis Luo Yu snorted and looked at the others. He said in a low voice, Pass down my orders. Yuanzong Qin Shujian has killed the moon-swallowing demon king. He will be rewarded with 50 kilograms of grade 9 ore and 5 spirit stones. Marquis, this reward is too great. A demon king's life is worth more than this. Marquis Luo Yu shook his head. He knew that the great Zhao would definitely reward him. After all, killing a demon king was a great merit to the entire demon clan. He was only offering the Luo Yu Manor a share. As for Big Head, he was still with the great Zhao. However, to Marquis Luo Yu, the reward given by the Luo Yu Manor was not low. He admired Qin Shujian quite a bit. He could ignore the power behind the demon clan and kill a demon king in public without saying anything. He had such courage. It wasn't something that just anyone could have. Unfortunately, Yuanzong is too close to Xiao Chunfeng. It is not easy to rope him in. Otherwise, the strength of the Luo Yu Manor would increase. Marquis Luo Yu shook his head regretfully. If he had another Ray Dao Grandmaster, he would have another true Dominion invincible expert. This would be a good thing for him. After all, other than the Great Domain and the Spirit Domain, the True Domain and the Ordinary Domain were just below them. Many times, the battle between experts might not necessarily take place in the large spirit realm. The gains and losses of the lower regions were also important. In the Heavenly Demon Temple, Venerable Moon Devourer has fallen! Zexing opened his eyes, his calm voice echoing in the hall. Moon-devouring Venerable has already advanced to Demon King. He should be called Moon-devouring Demon King. Whether it's the Moon-devouring Venerable or the Moon-devouring Demon King, it's all in the past. However, I never expected that the moon-devouring demon king would die in the fallen moon mansion without the help of Marquis Moonfall and Great Shao. Sage Eagle said in an indifferent tone. The death of a demon king did not cause much of a stir in his heart. In the eyes of the monster saint, although there was only a fine line separating the demon monarch realm from the demon monarch realm, but in reality, the difference between the two was like heaven and earth. Without reaching the 7th level of the celestial being realm, one would never be able to comprehend the profundities of the demon sage realm. Furthermore, the moon-devouring demon king had just entered the demon king realm and had not even touched the peak of the demon king realm. At this point, Sage Eagle changed the topic and his gaze landed on the middle-aged man in green robes. He smiled faintly and said, Ape Sage, the sky-piercing ape clan is known to be invincible among those of the same cultivation level. I wonder if you could kill Qin Shujian if you encountered him in the True Dominion? He has condensed 4 universal sky locks and is comparable to a demon saint almighty in the True Dominion. If I were to attack, I would definitely be able to kill him. The green-robed ape sage smiled slightly in response to Sage Eagle's words. He was not angry at all. To be able to become a demon saint, which one of them had not experienced thousands of years of cultivation. His state of mind and whatnot had already been polished until it was very smooth. Unless it was something very important, it would be very difficult to cause their state of mind to fluctuate. Sage Zay said, The Baiyun mansion is now a tough nut to crack. The Baiyun Marquis is an almighty and he has Qin Shujian, who is considered an almighty in the True Dominion. His strength is extraordinary. If the demon clan were to attack him, the risk would be too great if we were not completely confident. Now that Xietian has just died, the demon clans below could not help but attack. They deserve to die. One of them sneered and said, They acted without the heavenly demon temple's orders and wanted to snatch resources. Now that 1 or 2 great demon kings have died, they will know. There are some things that you can just look at. You can't just touch everything. Even though the other demon clans were scouting the way, the heavenly demon temple had tacitly allowed it. However, in the end, without a real order, they were acting without permission. Previously, the 5 elemental beast clan and now, the moon-devouring wolf clan had fallen one after another. They were happy to see this happen. After all, there were too many powerful existences in the demon clan. Some clans thought that they could contend with the heavenly demon temple just because they had 2 more great demons or 1 or 2 demon kings. In addition, over the years, the 12 demon saints had been guarding the heavenly demon temple. In order to take over the True Dominion and plunder the blood of millions, the Skywing Tiger people had also mobilized many experts. Just a few God Martial Realm cultivators had died. As for the clansmen below the Divine Martial Realm, there were countless. Devouring the blood of the humans could help the demon clans increase their strength. If they could take over the entire True Dominion, the strength of the entire Skywing Tiger people would definitely increase greatly. When that time came, the losses before them would no longer be losses. However, if they retreated just like that, these losses would be irreparable. Upon hearing that, the Skywing Demon King's furious expression gradually calmed down as he said in a cold voice, The Heavenly Demon Temple has not done anything for thousands of years. Now you want me to obey a mere order? Aren't you being too presumptuous? Upon saying that, the Skywing Demon King said, Pass down my orders. Attack the True Dominion with all your might. As for the Heavenly Demon Temple's order, ignore it. The Heavenly Demon Temple had not appeared for thousands of years. Although the demon clans knew about the existence of the Heavenly Demon Temple, not many clans still obeyed the Heavenly Demon Temple's orders. The Skywing Demon King believed that it was not just the Heavenly Winged Tiger clan. Even the other monstrous clans would not stop because of a mere command. As for the Heavenly Demon Temple's condemnation, the Skywing Demon King was not worried at all. After all, the Skywing Tiger people were not to be trifled with. They had 2 demon kings holding down the fort and 4 heavenly human demon clans. Such strength was already close to the top. Furthermore, the Skywing Demon King was a peak Demon King expert. As long as he broke through that threshold, he would become a Demon Saint level expert. When that time came, the Skywing Tiger people would officially become one of the top clans of the Demon clans. Such strength, it was enough for the Skywing Tiger people to ignore many things. No matter how strong the Heavenly Demon Temple was, would they really dare to fight the Skywing Tiger people until both sides suffered? As for the number of Demon Saints in the Heavenly Demon Temple that were still alive, it was not certain. They had not appeared for so many years. They might have already passed away. Furthermore, in the Skywing Demon King's opinion, even if the Demon Saints came personally, they would still have the ability to resist. Upon hearing that, the Skywing Tiger people elder below immediately accepted the order and retreated. However, just as he left the canyon, a terrifying attack landed and instantly killed him. It was a sudden turn of events. Before the Skywing Demon King could get angry, boom! Boom! Waves of powerful auras that seemed to be able to crush the sky covered the entire territory of the Skywing Tiger people. Soon after, towering figures stepped across the sky from afar. When they stood in the sky, they immediately plunged the territory of the Skywing Tiger people into darkness. Just as the other Skywing Tiger people were panicking, a thunderous voice resounded in the sky. The Skywing Tiger people do not respect the Heavenly Demon Temple's order. They should be killed. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.